Chapter 337. While Tang Jiu was praying in his heart, a crazy Audi A6 in the distance treated itself as a sports car. The three SUVs behind it followed closely behind the A6 like mad bulls, stirring up clouds of gray dust behind them. There was an indescribable arrogance in their aura. The bald man's golden necklace's first reaction told him that these four cars were definitely not here to bid for this project. The four cars all had Hudong local license plates, and judging from their speed, they were obviously very familiar with the local road conditions. "Brother, what's going on?" One of the men standing next to him asked nervously. "Brother, should we? Don't cause trouble for me. The people in these cars are obviously not easy to deal with." The bald man's intuition was still very clear. "If they don't offend me, I won't offend them. If they are smart, they won't cause trouble here. It's just a matter of mind your own business. Hold it together, and let them pass." While speaking, the bald man waved the rifle in his hand, more or less letting these people know that he had a weapon. If a fight really broke out, he was not afraid of them. The bald man with the gold necklace no longer looked as arrogant as before. Instead, he looked calm. Although he had a bad temper, he was still in Hudong City. He knew that a powerful dragon could not defeat a local snake. Moreover, his boss did not send him here to cause trouble. All he needed to do was to control the entrance of the Hudong Northern Expressway and ignore everything else. No matter what he did, he couldn't ruin his boss's big plan. Therefore, the bald man was very cautious when dealing with things. However, he didn't expect that even after he revealed the rifle in his hand, the four cars still didn't follow his plan. Instead, they stopped in front of them without hesitation. No matter how he looked at it, they seemed to have come prepared. In an instant, the bald man's men all became nervous. Were these four cars reinforcements? If that was really the case, then the Tang Corporation was really resourceful. The three tigers of the southern city got out of the car. They all noticed the rifle in the bald man's hand, and for a moment, a raging fire ignited in their hearts. Obviously, this bald man was definitely related to the person who came to Hudong City to cause trouble with them with a gun. "Friends, I'm doing something here. If I don't delay your journey, I hope you won't meddle too much." The bald man saw them get out of the car and immediately said, "It's best if we don't interfere with each other's business. Otherwise, it won't end well for anyone." The bald man could tell at a glance that the three tigers of the southern city were gangsters. That was why he said that. Although the three tigers of the southern city didn't remember this person being there when they were intercepted that day, after hearing Yi Zhang's accent, they had already made a conclusion in their hearts. They didn't expect that after those bastards had attacked them, they wanted to imitate their previous actions and directly eliminate the other competitors on the road. A group of people from Yijiang dared to act like a tyrant in Hudong City. If this spread out, how could the brothers of Hudong City survive? At this time, Su Yun finally walked out of Chang's car. He was already quite angry, but because Tang Jiu didn't follow his instructions to stay obediently, it was like adding fuel to the fire, and it could trigger a more violent rage at any time. Su Yun. When Tang Yifei saw Su Yun, it was like a drowning person grasping at a life-saving straw in the water. He was quite excited. After all, the local tyrant had come to help, and they now had someone to support them. Su Yun didn't pay attention to him at all, and only looked at Tang Jiu with a questioning gaze. Tang Jiu knew that her behavior was wrong, but her attitude was very, very good. She immediately apologized to Su Yun. "I'm sorry. If there weren't so many people watching, and if Tang Jiu wasn't wearing the hat of the Tang Group CEO, Su Yun would have already yelled at her. He had clearly said that she should be obedient and not confront others, and not argue with them. Just bear with it for a while and take a step back, and then everything would be fine." But Tang Jiu still couldn't bear it, and Su Yun couldn't say anything. The bald gold necklace was now certain that these people were reinforcements, and he was quite impressed. He didn't expect that the five of them dared to come and save people alone. They underestimated him too much. "Brother Yin, that bastard has a weapon." Chang walked to Su Yun's side and whispered, "Maybe it's the same group of people from last time." The three tigers of Nanchang also surrounded Su Yun. Their thoughts were the same as Chang's. The other party was most likely from Yi Zhang's brilliant construction group. Their intention of coming here to intercept Tang Jiu was also very obvious. It was for the bidding of the project. Once they were late, they wouldn't be qualified to bid. There was only one qualified company in Hudong, but they had other projects in their hands, so they weren't qualified to bid. Therefore, blocking the way of other bidders was equivalent to smoothly winning the project. How King shameless. Lu Feng spat and cursed. How dare they come to Hudong City to pretend to be local bullies? Just thinking about it made him so angry that he wanted to skin them and pull out their tendons. Su Yun stared at Lu Feng with disappointment. Didn't I learn this from you guys? The three tigers of Nanqing immediately stopped talking. Now that Brother Yun was angry, anyone who didn't know better would be asking for a scolding, and they couldn't blame anyone else. The bald man with the golden necklace saw that the other party was surrounding the leader. They didn't seem to be afraid of them, especially the leader of the other party. Not only was he not afraid of them, he even felt a sense of disdain from the leader's eyes. He simply looked down on him. Boy, if you want to meddle in other people's business, you should think about your own weight. The bald gold necklace was also a little angry. He didn't understand where the other party got the courage and capital to look down on him. Even if they looked down on him, they should respect the rifle in his hand. It should be known that this bullet was enough to make the other party write a report to the King of Hell. Protect her. Su Yin whispered to Chang and the three tigers of Nanqing. The four immediately nodded heavily. Su Yin walked out from the crowd and walked towards the bald golden necklace without any hesitation. His aura was absolutely overbearing. With Tang Jiu in the lead, a few of the female secretaries and assistants who came along with the car all fell in love with him. Chang and the three tigers of Nanqing were more or less worried. After all, the other party had a gun in his hand, and according to the previous example, the other party really dared to shoot. Otherwise, they wouldn't have suffered such a big loss last time. Obviously, they were also very clear about Su Yun's style of doing things. Once he decided on something, they couldn't change him at all. Therefore, even if they knew that it was very dangerous, they could only watch and didn't dare to stop him. Tang Yifei and Tang Xiaofeng's thoughts were a little strange. At some point, they even stood on the bald gold necklace's side, and even hoped that the bald gold necklace would really shoot Su Yun. The 7 bodyguards of the Tang group were also shocked by Su Yun's aura. They had seen people who were not afraid of death, but they had never seen such a fearless person. F***CK. Didn't you hear my brother? When the gangster saw that Su Yun completely ignored his elder brother's words, he immediately flew into a rage. He raised the defensive baton in his hand and directly smashed it toward Su Yun's head. Looking at his fierce strength, it seemed that he wanted to smash Su Yun to death with the baton. The tempered staff whizzed through the air. Su Yun only needed to slightly tilt his body to avoid the ruthless staff that came crashing down on his face. Before the gangster realized that he had hit nothing, Su Yun's knee had already hit the gangster's chin heavily. The huge impact made the gangster's whole body flip 180 degrees in the air, before falling heavily to the ground. The baton in the gangster's hand fell into Su Yun's hand unknowingly. Su Yun lowered his head and glanced at it. He snorted. German goods. As he said that, he glanced at the 7 bodyguards of the Tang group led by Old Qian. It must be your guy, right? Old Qian was really impressed. He was from the army. What kind of tough guy had he not seen before? What kind of person had he not seen before who was not afraid of death and tiredness? He had never seen someone like Su Yun. There were only 2 words. Too fierce. It's ours. How do you know? Old Qian nodded. Su Yun directly threw the baton in his hand to Old Qian. One look and you can tell that it's valuable. It's at least 1,000, right? Apart from rich and powerful corporations, who would be willing to buy this imported toy? Who else would be willing to buy it? 1,000 yuan is enough to buy 500 machetes. The bald man with the golden necklace couldn't take it anymore. He watched as Su Yun killed one of his men with a single kick, and even chatted happily with the other party's bodyguard. Wasn't he looking down on him too much? Kid, open your eyes wide. No matter how powerful you are, you can't be more powerful than a gun. The bald man with the gold necklace sneered and raised the gun in his hand, aiming at Su Yun without hesitation. As long as Su Yun was so arrogant, He promised that he would kill him without hesitation. There was a saying. What was it again? Yes, kill the chicken to warn the monkey. Everyone understood the logic of killing the chicken to warn the monkey. Punishing one person was a warning to the rest. It was especially useful in any situation. Moreover, Su Yun was the leader of the other party. If he killed him with a shot, it would not be as simple as killing the chicken to warn the monkey. It would be called to catch bandits, first catch the ringleader. Once they lost their leader, the bald man with the gold necklace could still smoothly complete the task that his boss had arranged for him. Wasn't it just shooting someone? It was not like he had not done it before. There was nothing to be afraid of. The bald man with the gold necklace held the rifle in his hand and made up his mind. As long as the other party dared to be arrogant, he dared to shoot him in the chest. Chapter 338. Su Yun still didn't stop moving forward. He believed that the bald guy with the gold necklace would really shoot, but he was also very clear that if the other party opened fire, he would definitely fall into a huge panic. At that time, the other party would be completely vulnerable. The bald guy with the gold necklace really didn't expect that after he raised his gun, the other party would still walk straight towards him as if nothing had happened. In an instant, Su Yun's actions instantly pulled back the momentum of the scene that was originally one-sided. The momentum that originally belonged to the bald guy was now reversed, and the pressure instantly increased. Seeing that the situation was no longer under his control, the bald guy with the gold necklace's expression changed drastically. He knew that he had to make a decision at this time. He had to break the other party's strong momentum. Shoot. At this time, the bald guy with the gold necklace only had this thought in his mind. Su Yun clearly saw his absent-minded eyes. At this moment, Su Yun's intuition told him that the other party was about to make a move. Just a second before the bald guy raised his gun and pulled the trigger, Su Yun's phantom step allowed him to instantly appear in front of the bald guy with the gold necklace. As for the rifle, it was bent by Su Yun's powerful hand the moment he stepped forward. The bald guy with the gold necklace could no longer control his finger that was pulling the trigger. The moment the barrel was bent by Su Yun, he also pulled the trigger. A huge explosion came from the barrel of the gun, and the gold necklace with the gold necklace's thumb and index finger shook painfully. The gold necklace with the gold necklace with the gold necklace let go of the broken rifle in his hand in pain. No one present had seen this scene before, and they all stared at Su Yun with wide eyes. Su Yun directly threw the broken rifle in his hand on the hard ground of the countryside. Then he raised his hand and hooked his finger at the gold necklace. How could Baldy Gold Necklace, who had been provoked, be so angry in front of his little brother? He didn't even think about it. How could a person who could bend a pure steel gun barrel with one hand care about his fist? However, the Baldy who had swung his fist forward could no longer stop. He saw with his own eyes that his fist was caught in the other party's hand. With a snap, his fist was easily broken. Su Yun had no intention of letting go of Baldy Golden Necklace, whose right wrist was already broken. At the moment when the opponent's momentum was completely gone, what Su Yun wanted to do was to give them the most vicious blow. Without waiting for Baldy Gold Necklace to beg for mercy, Su Yun had already turned his leg and kicked him in the shin. Baldy's golden necklace was struck in the calf by Su Yun's kick. His body instantly lost its center of gravity, and his entire body suddenly leaned forward. At the same time, Su Yun's body spun. Borrowing the strength from his waist, he viciously lashed out at Baldy's thick neck with the golden necklace. This kick made Baldy Gold Necklace's body, which weighed close to 100 kilograms, spin 3 times in the air before landing heavily. The group of lackeys looked at their boss, who was like a helpless woman in front of the other party. Their eyes widened, and they even forgot to save him. Finally, when Baldy Gold Necklace fell to the ground, someone reacted and shouted angrily, "Brothers, go!" Only then did their momentum, which had been completely suppressed, increase. However, Su Yun had already turned the situation around with his own strength. This time Old Qian, who was in charge of the bodyguard work, was also affected. He looked up to the sky and shouted, "Brothers, let's fight them!" Although the weapons in their hands had been taken away, the other party no longer had guns, so these bodyguards of the Tang group no longer had anything to worry about. In an instant, The ball of gunpowder in everyone's hearts was ignited. They would fight them even if they were bare-handed. In an instant, the whole scene was in a mess. The scuffle between 20 and 30 people made the scene extremely hot. Perhaps the bodyguards of the Tang group had been influenced by Su Yun, but none of them showed any mercy. Even if they were unarmed, they were not at a disadvantage at all. In less than 3 minutes, all of them had snatched back their weapons. After that, it became a completely one-sided situation. A group of gangsters and ruffians were smashed with broken arms and legs. They fell to the ground one after another, crying and begging for mercy. After dealing with Baldy Gold Necklace, Su Yun had not made any more moves. He calmly walked out of the chaotic group fight and said to the 3 tigers of Nanching, "I'll leave this to you. Tell the brothers behind not to go too far." Lu Feng was the first to pat his chest and promise, "Brother Yin, don't worry. Leave it to us. We'll take care of it. You go and do your business." "Yes, Brother Yin, you go quickly." Kong Zhong also followed. At this time, the 100 brothers who had taken care of the fake policemen also drove over. The army of more than 20 cars was really arrogant. Tang Jiu and her 2 unreliable brothers were also completely stunned. It turned out that they had brought a backup army. It seemed that their safety was not a problem for this trip to Hudong. Dan Hongning said with a cheeky smile, "Brother Yin, we won't bother you about the banquet tonight. We'll take care of it ourselves outside. It's not worth it to delay the business of the hotel." After all, the standard price of a table in Hudong City Hotel was at least 800 to 900 yuan. If alcohol was included, such a group of strong young men who could drink would definitely be wasted. Therefore, Dan Hongning did not want the hotel to lose money because of such a small matter. Those underlings were very loyal to them. It would not be a problem to send them to eat at a street stall. "No, you have to come to my place tonight." Su Yin was also a man of principle. Tang Jiu also said, "Yes, all of you go to the Medicinal Cuisine Hotel. I'll pay the bill tonight. Today, I'll hold a celebratory banquet at the Medicinal Cuisine Hotel after we clinch this project. None of you can miss out. Also, tell all the brothers who came to help today to show up. I'll give out red packets. Everyone will get one." The great CEO of the Tang Corporation was very courageous. After all, for Tang Jiu, as long as he clinched this project today, it was not a big deal even if he had to spend 1,000,000 yuan. Hearing Tang Jiu's words, the 3 tigers of Southern City were happy. At the same time, they looked at Su Yun and thought about it carefully. They really could not accept this red packet. "It's getting late. We don't have time to waste here." Su Yun looked at the time. "We have to be at the convention center at 10. Although it's not far, there's a lot of traffic. If there's an accident and we're late, everything will be over." Tang Jiu nodded. "Okay, you coming with me?" "Okay." Su Yun nodded and patted Chang's shoulder. "Lead the way." "Okay." Chang received the order and immediately got in the car to lead the way. At this time, Tang Jiu also ordered, "Everyone get in the car. Old Qian, tell your men to follow their car closely." At this time, the 100 brothers of the 3 tigers of Southern City also came. These people were very clear about the situation. They took over the job of the 7 bodyguards of the Tang group and continued to kick the punks of Yijiang City, who came from Yijiang City. Old Qian waved his hand and told everyone to get in the car. Then he followed Chang's car closely. Tang Xiaofeng and Tang Yifei, of course, got in the car early and prepared to escape. They had long had enough of this remote place. Su Yun and Tang Jiu sat in the back seat of the car together. The driver followed the Qian in front without Tang Jiu's order. The Praval at the back also followed closely. After watching all the cars leave, the 3 tigers of Southern City continued to yell at their brothers to beat them up. Beat them to death. They wanted to let the people from Yijiang City know how powerful the local tyrants of Hudong City were. If they dared to behave atrociously in their territory, it was tantamount to courting death. More than 100 people trampled the bald man with the gold necklace, and the other 20 people to death before they stopped. After fighting for so long, they were a little tired. "Brothers, thank you for today's matter. I, Lu Feng, thank you on behalf of us 3 brothers and Brother Yin." Lu Feng saw that the matter was almost settled, so he said, "So tonight, Everyone will go to Brother Yun's medicinal cuisine hotel to drink. Don't be pretentious in front of me. Everyone will go. If you have something to do, cancel it. If you don't go, you are not my brother. Dan Hongning smiled and said, whoever doesn't go is a fool. If you go, you will get a red packet. Did you hear that? You know the Tang Corporation, right? The CEO of Jibei City's Tang Corporation will personally give you red packets. Do you understand? Everyone will go. Kong Zhong was stunned. He patted Dan Hongning's shoulder and whispered, are you okay? Of course I am. If not, I will go and eat some plums. Dan Hongning said. I don't have time to chat with you. We can't accept the red packets. Do you really want us to open our hands? Kong Zhong glared. He was such a boring person. He was too serious when doing things. Although Lu Feng was puzzled, he knew that Dan Hongning wasn't someone who didn't know how to take the red packets. It wasn't that he didn't understand. He definitely wouldn't make such a low-level mistake. What are you thinking in your head? I don't believe that you really want us to accept the red packets. He accept it. If we don't accept it, we won't give face to CEO Tang. Dan Hongning still had an unpredictable smile on his face. Besides, CEO Tang doesn't care about the melons and jujubes. What he wants is face. If we refuse, where will he put his face? What Dan Hongning said made sense. But if they accepted the money, it didn't seem right. The two of you don't have to think too much. We have our own plans. Dan Hongning said. It's about time for us to call it a day. Our brothers did a great job today, but don't let your guard down. We don't know what else will happen today, so stay alert. Everyone keep your phones on. If there is anything, we will contact you. Yes, Brother Ning. Chapter 339. Ever since Su Yun got into Tang Jiu's car, the driver and the secretary Pan Fei, who sat in the passenger seat, didn't speak. Su Yun's aura was too strong. Under this kind of aura, they were even nervous to breathe. After all, not everyone could do something so exaggerated. It should be known that if that person had fired a little earlier, Su Yun might have died on the spot. Su Yun, thank you so much for today. Tang Jiu thought about the consequences and was quite afraid. If Su Yun didn't appear, she probably wouldn't have been able to escape unscathed, let alone go to the convention center to bid. Su Yun frowned. He knew very well that he had ordered the green-faced beast and ghost-face Azura brothers to protect Tang Jiu. Why didn't they come with Tang Jiu? Why aren't Zhang Wenning and Zhang Yongliang with you? Tang Jiu was stunned for a moment before he explained. The two of them have been guarding the house all this time. Su Yun, I don't want to make things so complicated. I don't want to have two bodyguards by my side for everything. Besides, you know how the two of them look. They really aren't suitable to attend some events with me. Well, even if they are not suitable, you should at least bring two bodyguards who can take on the dangerous role when you go out, right? Su Yun was quite speechless at this point. Can the 7 people you brought be considered bodyguards? At most, they are top security guards. What are bodyguards for? Even if they die, they have to protect the boss. He's not a coward who's scared by one person and one gun. Tang Jiu knew that Su Yun was angry because he cared about her, so she obediently lowered her head and admitted her mistake. I'm sorry. I know what I did was wrong. Please don't be angry. Actually, you can't blame old Qian and the others. They didn't dare to do anything because they were worried that if they did, they wouldn't be able to deal with it. They were afraid because that person had a gun. If they hurt me, they couldn't bear the responsibility. What else could Su Yun say? The boss didn't even blame his own people, so he had no right to say anything. I hope they're really thinking from your perspective. Tang Jiu, I left the Zhang brothers with you, so that you can bring them with you at critical moments. They could have followed the car here. At most, they could have stayed in the car and waited for you in the car instead of bidding with you. That way, none of this would have happened. After all, the green-faced beast and ghost-face Azura were both first-rate experts. They had the power to dominate any place east of the river. Alright. I got it. Don't nag anymore. Tang Jiu's voice was a little coquettish. Didn't I already apologize to you? Why are you still not done? I was wrong. I admit defeat. Didn't you settle everything now? Nothing happened at all? If something were to happen, it would be over. Soo-Yun really didn't have any temper. It was probably useless to say anything to her. She could do whatever she wanted. Right, what happened to you? Sister Frost picked up my call yesterday. She said you were unconscious for 2 days. You scared me. Tangjio nervously reached out to touch Soo-Yun's forehead and muttered to herself, "It's not hot. I don't have a fever. I was just sleepy and wanted to sleep. It's not as troublesome as you think." Soo-Yun was speechless. "So, you should just mind your own business." Tangjio rolled her eyes at Soo-Yun. "What about Guogua? How's Guogua recently? Is she doing well?" Soo-Yun shrugged. "Not bad. She's attending classes as usual. Everything is normal. Let me tell you, if you see her today and she wants you to bring her to Ji-Bay to play, you have to reject her. She's been too playful these few days." Tangjio nodded obediently. "Alright, I got it. I'll do as you say. Don't worry. I really don't have confidence in you." Soo-Yun was furious when he thought about how Tangjio didn't listen to him, and got out of the car to argue with the bald man with the golden necklace. Big brother, I really know my mistake. Please forgive me. I'll use the results of the project as an apology gift. Is that okay?" Tangjio didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "When did you become so wishy-washy?" Soo-Yun was speechless and glared at Tangjio. "Fine, if you think I'm wishy-washy, then I won't say anything and ignore you." The chauffeur and his secretary, Pan Fei, looked at each other. They had never seen President Tang like this before. President Tang was usually very serious, and his words were very rigid. But now, in front of Soo-Yun, it was as if he had returned to the rainy season when he was 17 years old. His smile was bright and beautiful. Soo-Yun was also able to sit still. After all, Tangjio was definitely one of the 4 beauties in Ji-Bay. "Hey Chang, speed up. We'll go around from the outside. The only way to the exhibition center in the city is definitely blocked." Soo-Yun had called Chang. Since the other parties people could find people to block them at the entrance of the Northern Expressway, they could also deliberately create a car accident on the road in the city to cause a traffic jam to stop their opponents. Although this was only Soo-Yun's guess, Soo-Yun still felt that it was better to be careful. If they went around the outside, although the distance was almost twice as long, it was still much better than being blocked on the road. Okay. Chang hung up and started to speed up. After all, the cars behind them weren't cheap. Their performance was quite good. Even the 2 business cars could easily reach 150 or 60 miles per hour. Seeing the car speed up, Tangjio became nervous again. Unknowingly, they had wasted so much time there. There were only 20 minutes left. What if they were late? After seeing the nervous expression on Tangjio's face, Soo-Yun couldn't help but comfort her. "Don't worry. As long as your driver can keep up with Chang, I can guarantee that we'll make it in time. Don't worry, it's under the condition that we don't break any rules." Tangjio heard this and breathed a sigh of relief. "If we're late, all our efforts will be in vain. Have you finished the proposal?" Soo-Yun smiled. "I'm afraid you've been working hard these past few days. Take advantage of these 20 minutes to close your eyes and rest. Once the exhibition center is closed, I won't be able to help you. I don't know how many people are competing for this project, and I don't know how strong the opponents are. It's all up to you." Tangjio bit her lower lip and nodded confidently. "Don't worry, I won't let you down." Seeing that Tangjio was so confident, Soo-Yun was very satisfied. Under the guidance of Chang, the 4 cars of the Tang group finally drove into the exhibition center before the doors closed. Tangjio and the team she brought finally entered the large conference room 1 minute before the bidding began. Chang took out a cigarette and handed it to Soo-Yun. Looking at the scattered cars in the parking lot of the exhibition center, he said, "Brother Yun, I have a feeling that there won't be many people bidding this time." "Is there a need for you to have a feeling?" Soo-Yun didn't take the cigarette and pushed it back. "Since they dare to put on this show at the exit of the North Expressway, they will dare to do the same at the exit of the South Expressway and the East Expressway. Many people from other cities who came to bid might have been stopped. In order to save their lives, I believe that most people will obediently return home. And I'm afraid that this infamy will be thrown on the heads of the 3 tigers of Southern City. Chang grinned and sighed. That bastard is really sneaky. But this bastard is really bold. He dares to play in our Hudong territory. He really doesn't put us in his eyes. Brother Yin, we can't be slapped in the face and not fight back, right? Su Yin narrowed his eyes. Chang already understood that Brother Yin's narrowing of eyes was definitely to slap the face of the person who offended them. Su Yin said lightly, "Of course we won't not fight back, but now is not the time. He will definitely take the initiative to stick his face to us. At that time, we will give him a hard slap and let him know that he has to pay the price for what he did." At this time, Su Yin received a text message from Lu Feng. He was afraid that Su Yin would follow them to the bidding site, so he didn't call. The general meaning was that after the matter was settled and the imposters were tied up, he directly called the police and asked Su Yin if there were any other tasks for them to do. Su Yin immediately sent a text message to Lu Feng and asked the 3 of them to take people to the East Expressway exit and the South Expressway exit. Maybe there would be new gains. About an hour later, Dan Hongning sent over the good news that he had cleaned up the group of guys at the exit of the East Expressway. 2 hours later, Kong Zhong sent another message, saying that he had also sent the group of imposters at the exit of the South Expressway to the police. There were more than 30 people at each exit. It seemed that the other party had invested a lot to win this project. Su Yin looked at the conference room of the exhibition center nervously. It had been 2 hours. It was lunchtime, but no one was coming out. It seemed that the competition was quite fierce. He really didn't know if Tang Jiu could handle it alone. Brother Yin, it's already so late. Should we find a place to eat first? I guess I won't be out for a while. Chang also knew that Su Yin had just woken up after sleeping for 2 days. He was also worried about his physical condition, so he had to remind him. Su Yin couldn't leave in peace. It wasn't impossible for them to fight in anger. If this project didn't fall into the pocket of the Tang group, then he wouldn't be in the mood to eat. If you are hungry, go and buy 2 box lunches. Just make do with 1. Chang wasn't willing to listen. Brother Yin, are you slapping my face? How can I let you eat box lunches? If Sister Shuang knows about this, she will definitely scold me. Your body needs nutrition now. Don't talk so much nonsense. Su Yin didn't wait for Chang to finish and interrupted him directly. Are you going or not? If you don't go, get out. Eat whatever you want. Don't worry about me. Chapter 340. About half an hour later, Chang bought a lunchbox from somewhere. There was really everything in it. Sea cucumber, abalone, crab, pork ribs, chicken drumsticks. Isn't this too exaggerated? Where did you buy it? The owner of this shop wants to close down. How much is a box? Su Yin and Chang didn't have to be polite. They directly leaned against the car hood with the lunchbox and ate it in big mouthfuls. 2 days ago, I saw Xiao Fei and his girlfriend handing out sea cucumbers in the shop, so I knew I could eat it today, so I rushed over and asked him to make 2 for me. Later, when he heard that I was here to deliver food to Big Brother Yin, he immediately steamed abalone and crab. Later, his girlfriend said that although eating abalone was nutritious, it didn't make him hungry. Things like pork ribs and chicken drumsticks were more affordable, so he made 2 sets of boxed lunches with sea cucumbers, abalone, crab, pork ribs, and chicken drumsticks. Later, his girlfriend said that eating these things was nutritious, but it didn't make him hungry. Things like pork ribs and chicken drumsticks were more affordable, so he made 2 sets of boxed lunches with sea cucumbers, abalone, crab, pork ribs, and chicken drumsticks. Brother Yin, this rice is the local fragrant rice of Hudong. There are only 5 or 6 acres of land that can produce this rice. Su Yin ate very quickly. Xiao Fei, this child, is quite interesting. Why didn't I know when he found a girlfriend? Soon, Su Yin finished the quite sumptuous mixed lunchbox. Chang immediately took out the mineral water from the trunk and handed it to Su Yin. Then he threw the garbage bag into the trash can not far away. Su Yin couldn't help but clap and cheer. He didn't expect Chang's quality to improve so much. This really made Chang embarrassed. Brother Yin, we can't keep waiting like this. Do you think it's so difficult to start a project? Don't they eat lunch? Chang was puzzled. These people are really hardworking. Su Yun didn't know what the procedure was, but according to his experience, this matter was a bit special. Maybe Feng Guoqing deliberately messed with it, so it became so complicated now. Feng Guoqing didn't want Qin Zhongming to have any achievements, so it wasn't strange for him to do such a thing. Chang grinned and shook his head. Io, Uncle Qin and the other leaders are also starving inside? That's impossible, right? Su Yin sneered. Anything was possible. Looking at how things were being done in such a hurry, who knew what Feng Guoqing was up to? Moreover, Su Yin always felt that someone knew about this in advance, and this person was very likely to be Fan Tianlong, the boss of Yijiang City's brilliant construction group. If he knew about today's bidding a day in advance, he wouldn't have arranged the road blockade so perfectly. This matter must have something to do with Feng Guoqing. Although Feng Guoqing said that he would let Qin Zhongming be in charge of this matter, in fact, it was very likely that he was manipulating things behind the scenes. After all, anyone who knew about this project would have to contact him, the secretary. If it wasn't for Feng Guoqing's close relationship, he could directly mention it to Qin Zhongming, and let Qin Zhongming take the trouble. But if it was his own close relationship, he could use the information he knew to manipulate things behind the scenes, and let his own people get the opportunity first. Maybe that group of people dared to attack the southern Three Tigers in Hudong City, because they had Feng Guoqing's support, so there was nothing to be afraid of. It seems that this matter is really getting more and more complicated. Su Yin smiled slightly. Whether Tang Jiu can win this project or not depends on his luck. If Tang Jiu can't win this project this time, Chang, come with me to Feng Guoqing's house tonight. Chang agreed, and then was startled. Brother, why are you going to the secretary's house? Are you going to get something on him again? If Tang Jiu can't win this project, then Feng Guoqing slapped me hard in the face. Do you think I should pay him back? Su Yin raised his eyebrows and said to Chang. Chang said firmly, yes. Of course. Don't mention that he's just a small city's party secretary. Even if he's a big official of the party secretary, as long as you say the word, I Qiangzi, will do anything for you. Su Yin waved his hand to signal him to calm down. Okay, you don't have to show your loyalty here. I won't let you commit murder or arson. Just wait obediently. I don't think this project will be decided in a short time. If they come out early in the morning, I'm afraid this matter will be aborted. On the contrary, the longer they discuss it inside, the more likely this matter will be decided as soon as possible. Yes, Brother Yin, I think so too. Chang didn't understand what Su Yin was talking about, but he knew that whatever Brother Yin said made sense. He just had to listen. Time passed very slowly. 2 hours passed, and the people in the conference room still didn't come out. Su Yin knew that this matter would be decided today. He finally couldn't wait anymore, and asked for a cigarette for Chang. What Su Yin didn't expect was that he waited outside for a full 7 hours. He came here from 10 in the morning, and it wasn't until 5 in the afternoon that he saw the door of the conference room of the convention center finally open. Soon, the Tang Group's team walked out of the conference room with smiles on their faces. Tang Jiu had been suppressing the excitement in her heart. She had to remain dignified and reserved. After all, her image represented the Tang Group. If she wasn't the lousy CEO, she would have been so excited that she would have taken off her high heels and run over to Su Yin to give him a big hug. Compared to Tang Jiu, the atmosphere when the other group of people came out was much gloomier. The group of people surrounded a young man in his early 30s. Although the weather was cold enough, he was still only wearing a black shirt. On his wrist was a string of large tiger's eye stone prayer beads. His eyes were filled with a vicious aura. Although there was no writing on the young man's face, Su Yun's sixth sense told him that the person he was looking at now was Fan Tianlong. There was no reason, it was just intuition. Tang Jiu had already walked up to Su Yin. She held back her laughter and said to Su Yin, "We won. Only the two of you are competing?" Su Yin didn't let the victory go to his head. His eyes met the young man's gaze. At that moment, a chill ran down his spine. Tang Jiu nodded. Yes, the other company is Yijiang City's Glory Construction Group. The boss is Fan Tianlong. I really suspect that he was the one who sent people to stop us this morning. Su Yin smiled faintly and said to Tang Jiu, "You don't need to doubt it. I'm certain that he did it." While speaking, Su Yun's eyes never left Fan Tianlong's gaze. Fan Tianlong stared at Su Yun, who was standing beside Tang Jiu from afar. He didn't know why he was competing with that person, but he didn't want to look away now. He had to stare until the other party didn't dare to look at him. However, Fan Tianlong might have met his match this time. Su Yun didn't even think about avoiding Fan Tianlong's gaze. Su Yun didn't have anything to avoid, because Su Yun knew very well that the conflict between them had just begun. If he let the other party gain the upper hand at this time, he didn't know if he would become complacent. This was Hudong. Su Yun also knew very well that in his territory, he wouldn't allow himself to lose to anyone. He wouldn't show any weakness in any of the details. Just like just now, Su Yun was prepared. If Tang Jiu didn't get the project, he would definitely go to Feng Guoqing at night and force him to change the person. Su Yun believed that he had the means to make Feng Guoqing do what he wanted. Fortunately, he was very satisfied with the result. This way, he didn't have to go to Feng Guoqing at night. Instead, he could have a grand celebration party with everyone in the Medicinal Cuisine Hotel. At this time, the three tigers of Nanqing had already taken their brothers to the hotel. They didn't think that the bidding would take so long. After Wan Qingshuang knew the purpose of the three tigers of Nanqing's visit, she immediately asked LV Winnie to calculate the number of people and arrange a suitable hall. She also asked Liang Shan to immediately inform the kitchen to prepare the celebration party. When Su Yun and Tang Jiu were about to leave, Qin Zhongming also walked out of the conference room. When he saw Su Yun, he immediately waved at Su Yun. It seemed that he didn't expect Su Yun to be there at all. Su Yun let Tang Jiu get in the car first, and then walked over. Uncle Qin, come to the hotel tonight. We have a celebration party. There will be quite a lot of people and it will be quite lively. Come and join us in the fun. I'm afraid I don't have time tonight. I have to work overtime and get this project contract done as soon as possible. Qin Zhongming's face was full of smiles. Today's matter was really thrilling. I didn't expect Feng Guoqing to secretly take advantage of me. I've long wanted to give this project to President Fan of Glory Construction Group in Yijiang City. However, in terms of qualifications, ideas, and management talents, the Glory Construction Group was far inferior to the Tang Group. That's why I insisted on choosing Tang Group. Of course, it's not because of you. It's entirely because of Tang Group's ideas and capabilities. When Su Yun heard this, he understood why it took so long. Qin Zhongming smiled helplessly. But everyone must have received instructions from Feng Guoqing. They all think that Glory Construction Group is better. I can't win against them alone, so I directly reported this matter to the provincial government. I have an old leader in the provincial government. He attached great importance to this matter. Then, haha, you know that government matters need to be resolved in a meeting. That's why it took so long. In this matter, the result is far more important than the process. Su Yun. Uncle Qin, thank you very much. Thank me? Ha ha ha. I should be the one thanking you. Thank you for bringing such a good project to Hudong City. Qin Zhongming let out a long sigh of relief. This project will bring more than 20% economic growth to Hudong City. It will also promote employment and directly increase the per capita income. That's great, that's great. Chapter 341. Fan Tianlong, who did not get the project despite all his efforts, was in a complicated mood. It was not an exaggeration to say that he felt as if he was being stabbed by a knife. He couldn't believe that he was defeated by a woman. He knew very well that there was a big gap between his brilliant construction group and the Tang's group. If Tang Jingtian were here, he would accept his defeat. However, a girl in her 20s stole the project from him. Even if the other party was the powerful Tang's group, he couldn't accept it. Fan Tianlong, who had just walked to the front of the car, could not help but look back. He happened to see the young man beside Tang Jiu walk straight to Mayor Qin. At that moment, Fan Tianlong's temples tightened. If it were not for Mayor Qin's strong opposition, he would have gotten the project long ago. This person had insisted on comparing the strength of the two competitors and the project planning. He had directly bypassed Feng Guoqing and reported it to the relevant department in the province. This was the most direct reason why Fan Tianlong had lost the project. Fan Tianlong had thought a lot in order to get the project. He had put all his effort into stopping the competitors from coming. Moreover, he had a close relationship with Hudong City's Secretary Feng. He had done everything he could and spent all the money he could. He was almost certain that he would get the project. Even when Fan Tianlong saw that Tang Jiu from the Tang Group could bring people to the scene, he did not doubt that the project was already in his hands. Now that he saw Mayor Qin chatting with the young man, Fan Tianlong had a strong desire for revenge. It must be these two people who made things difficult for him midway. Otherwise, he wouldn't have messed up the plan that he was so confident in. He bowed. Let's go and say hello, Fan Tianlong said coldly. He then strode towards Qin Zhongming and Su Yin. A bald man with a golden necklace followed closely behind Fan Tianlong. At that moment, the people from the government were about to leave. Someone came up to greet Qin Zhongming. Qin Zhongming said goodbye to Su Yin and left in a hurry. He had to go back and do some research. He wanted to make sure this matter ended well. When Su Yin turned to leave, he saw a group of people walking towards him. Su Yin had enough time to turn around and leave, but he chose to wait. He believed that if he left with Tang Jiu now, those people would definitely chase after them. Pa, pa, pa. Fan Tianlong clapped his hands as he walked towards Su Yin. Brother, you're pretty good. What's your name? Su Yin smiled. When you ask for someone's name, shouldn't you at least introduce yourself out of courtesy? However, I have no intention of getting to know you, so it doesn't matter. Fan Tianlong. Just as he opened his mouth to announce his name, a group of his subordinates had already blocked Su Yin's path. This was a public place, and it was also a big day for Tang Jiu to clinch his first project. It was probably not appropriate to make a move. Su Yin could only reply, Su Yin. The corner of Fan Tianlong's mouth twitched, revealing an expression that was not a smile. Good name, good name. With one look, I can tell that you are someone who will achieve great things. Congratulations, congratulations. The corner of Su Yin's mouth also curled into a sinister smile. What's there to congratulate me about? If you want to congratulate someone, you should congratulate President Tang. She is the one who clinched this project, not me. Fan Tianlong suddenly raised his head and laughed. Ha ha ha. Brother Su Yin, you really know how to joke. What's there to congratulate about clinching a small project? The person who deserves to be congratulated is you. You used this project to clinch the young and beautiful CEO of Tang Corporation. Ha ha ha. Who do you think is the most deserving of my congratulations? Su Yin narrowed his eyes. President Fan, I remember saying that I have no intention of getting to know you. So if you want to congratulate me, it's not up to you to do so. We don't have much interaction in the future, so why do you keep calling me brother? If I don't give you face, you will be the one losing face. F*CK. Who the F*CK do you think you are? How dare you talk to our young Master Long like that? He Bao was furious. After all, their boss was the leader of Yijiang City's underworld, and was good friends with the municipal party secretary. They were always treated with the highest standards of hospitality when they visited Hudong City. The moment Su Yin saw He Bao, he could already confirm that the culprits at the highway entrance were Fan Tianlong's men. This was because He Bao looked too similar to the bald man with the golden necklace who had blocked Tang Jiu and the rest. Even their clothes were exactly the same. If it weren't for the scar on his face, Su Yin would have thought that they were the same person. Fan Tianlong raised his hand and signaled his men not to act rashly. He then shouted at He Bao. Is this how you talk to Brother Yin? Can't you see that the Hudong City's underworld has changed hands? Aren't you afraid that you won't be able to get out of here alive if you talk to Boss Yin like that? He Bao, be smart. It's not just Hudong City. Boss Yin is now the CEO of Tang Group. Maybe Jibei City, or even the entire Jiangbei province, will belong to Boss Yin in the future. You will cry when that happens. Obviously, Fan Tianlong wasn't really educating his men. He was saying this for Su Yin to hear. Su Yin smiled slightly. Young Master Long, you do need to manage your men well and strictly. Otherwise, they will always do something rash. They will cause trouble for you as their boss. Fan Tianlong frowned. He could tell that Su Yin was implying something. Some bosses who don't know how to manage their men will always cause trouble. Su Yin sighed. I don't know who didn't teach his brothers well. Today Hudong City was really lively. 3 highways were occupied by a group of idiots in fake police uniforms. Unfortunately, they were taken to the police station by real police officers. I'm afraid it will cost a lot to ransom them. After hearing this, Fan Tianlong's face changed completely. No wonder he couldn't stop the Tang group from coming to the scene, even though he had arranged for so many people to block the road. It turned out that his men had all fallen. He glared at Su Yin fiercely. What do you mean? Su Yin glanced at him and said calmly, looking at your face, I'm afraid you have a twin brother? After saying this, Su Yin ignored the surprised looks of Fan Tianlong and his men, and left the crowd. Chang, who was already anxious, was about to blow the whistle to call for help. When he saw Su Yin come out, he was instantly relieved. Tang Jiu was also nervous. However, other than being nervous, she couldn't do anything to help Su Yin. Sister Jiu, since things are going so smoothly, why don't we just go back? Tang Xiaofeng didn't want to stay in Hudong City for another minute. Tang Jiu glanced at him. I've emphasized many times that you should call me President Tang during working hours. Also, I've already decided to hold a celebratory banquet at Hudong City's Medicinal Cuisine Hotel tonight. I'm not someone who goes back on his words. However, if you insist on leaving, I won't stop you. Hearing this, Tang Yifei also came forward. Although he didn't get along with Tang Xiaofeng, he would rather go back to Jibei with Tang Xiaofeng than stay here and be despised. Xiaofeng, if you want to go back, I'll go with you. I have some things to do back there. Tang Xiaofeng was annoyed by Tang Jiu's words. He glanced at Tang Yifei. I'm sorry, second brother. I don't want to go back now. If you want to go back, you'll have to figure out a way yourself. Third brother. You. Tang Yifei gritted his teeth. If he had known this bastard would be like this, he would have driven here himself. He wouldn't have had to suffer like this. It wasn't that Tang Xiaofeng didn't want to leave, but after being annoyed by Tang Jiu, he suddenly realized a problem. Today, it could be said that they forcibly snatched the project from the hands of Brilliant Construction Group. The boss of Brilliant Construction Group was obviously not a kind person. He was very likely to retaliate against them. Therefore, Tang Xiaofeng was worried that he would be targeted. It wasn't that his Porsche Cayenne was rare or attractive in this era. It was just that his car had just been changed to an exaggerated carmine color, so it was too eye-catching. In the end, Tang Xiaofeng decided not to go. If he went with Tang Jiu, even if something happened, Su Yin would be there to protect him. If he went alone, he was afraid that if something happened, no one would be able to help him. Second brother, do you have something urgent to go back? Tang Xiaofeng thought of this and suddenly turned to Tang Yifei. Tang Yifei thought that Tang Xiaofeng had figured it out again. His originally gloomy face smiled again. Yeah, third brother, do you want us to go back today? In fact, we really have nothing to do here today. It's better to go back by ourselves. Third brother, let's go back. Whatever you want to eat or play, second brother will treat you. Tang Xiaofeng himself wasn't short of money. He wouldn't be tempted by this small favor, but he took out the car key. Second brother, if you have something urgent to go, I can lend you the car. Tang Yifei's eyes lit up. Yo, third brother is really generous. Then he had to be polite. You're generous. Thank you, third brother. Then you can play here by yourself. After I go back, I will wash your car clean and fill it with gas. You can rest assured and play here. We brothers don't need to be so polite. Second brother, take care. Tang Xiaofeng smiled very sincerely. Tang Yifei walked to the car door. When he was about to open the door, Tang Xiaofeng's sincere smile appeared in his mind again. Tang Yifei finally gave up. Obviously, he absolutely didn't believe that Tang Xiaofeng would smile so sincerely to him. The more he thought about it, the more he felt that something was wrong. In the end, Tang Yifei also gave up going back first. Instead, he returned the car key to Tang Xiaofeng. Third brother, I thought about it. I still don't want to go. You are so generous. I can't be so ungenerous as to leave you alone, right? Second brother, I'm fine. Tang Xiaofeng said calmly. Tang Yifei smiled slightly. Third brother, I know what you are thinking in your heart. In order to mess with me, you are even willing to take a car that costs more than 1,000,000 yuan. You are really willing to spend a lot of money. Second brother, I really don't understand what you are talking about. Tang Xiaofeng didn't have a guilty conscience at all. His eyes were particularly calm, but he cursed Tang Yifei a few times in his heart. Su Yan didn't care about their farce at all. He still let Chang drive in front to lead the way. Everyone was led to the Medicinal Cuisine Hotel. It was estimated that the celebration banquet in the evening was almost ready. Watching the people of the Tang group leave, Fan Tianlong clenched his fist until it made a caw-caw sound. Young Master Long, where are we going now? He Bao was stunned for a long time before he asked. Where are we going? Of course, we are going to find a relationship to get He Hu and the others out. Fan Tianlong said in Dragon's Fury. Bastards, a group of useless people. Chapter 342. Tang Jiu was naturally in a good mood after the project was won. There was no longer any tension in the car. Tang Jiu would joke with Pan Fei from time to time, and the little secretary finally revealed a relaxed smile in the lively atmosphere. Mr. Su, it's fortunate that you're here. Otherwise, President Tang would definitely be in a bad mood again. Pan Fei smiled and said, I haven't seen President Tang smile so happily in a long time. Tang Jiu was stunned and asked doubtfully, Really? I haven't smiled in a long time? Why don't I remember? Fei Fei, don't talk nonsense. You're making me sound like an old witch with a long face. Haven't I always been good to you? When have I ever given you a long face? Pan Fei smiled faintly. Of course I know that President Tang is very good to me. I'm not saying that you're giving me a long face. I just feel that you haven't been so relaxed and truly happy in a long time. Even if you smile normally, it's mostly a professional or habitual smile. It doesn't come from the bottom of your heart at all. Tang Jiu, I heard that scientists have done research. If a woman can maintain a good mood, she can at least delay her aging by 10 years. Su Yun counted with his fingers and said, After a woman turns 25, her skin and everything else starts to decline. She'll become tofu dregs at 30. But if she can maintain a good mood, she can at least delay it until she's 40. Tang Jiu glared at Su Yun fiercely. I haven't reached the age of tofu dregs, right? Also, why are you men like flowers at 30? Bah. You're a dog's tail flower. No matter what kind of flower a man is, he's still a flower. But no matter how fragrant tofu dregs are, they're still tofu dregs. Su Yun shrugged. Be careful that you won't be able to get married. Don't be an alarmist in front of me. Why should I be tofu dregs? I've heard people say that women are like blooming peonies when they're 30. That's called maturity. Everything is stable and experienced. That's when they're the most charming. Tang Jiu rolled his eyes and said, At that time, we women have both young and beautiful looks and mature minds. Humph. Do you know what it means to be popular? Su Yun didn't hold back at all. Popular? Those were all excuses that old leftover women found for themselves, because they hated being married off. They wanted to give the 30-year-old a way out. If women in their 30s are really that good, why are there so many successful men flirting with those young ladies? Tang Jiu really wanted to break Su Yun's arm. Do you feel uncomfortable if you don't attack me? You clearly know that I'm busy with my career now, and will definitely delay it until I'm 30 years old. Are you deliberately bothering me? Pan Fei had completely let her guard down. When she saw Su Yun and Tang Jiu behaving like this, she completely treated it as if they were enemies. She thought that they were a couple bickering. President Tang, can't you tell? Mr. Su is trying to make you think that you won't be able to get married. Then he can take advantage of the situation and get his hands on you. Secretary Pan, you can't say that carelessly. Otherwise, if your CEO Tang really misses out on his fate because of this sentence, wouldn't I be guilty of the most heinous crime if he really gets himself into trouble? Su Yun said with a smile. He swore that he didn't mean anything else when he said that. As the saying goes, the falling flowers have feelings, but the flowing water has no intention. The speaker may not mean it, but the listener means it. Su Yun's meaningless words vaguely hinted that it was impossible for anything to happen between him and Tang Jiu. Tang Jiu's originally good mood instantly collapsed. Su Yun, what do you mean? Let me tell you, I won't get myself into trouble. There are many people chasing after me. Don't compare me to those women who hate being married off. Of course. How can the dignified President Tang of the Tang Group not have anyone chasing after her? Su Yin had no intention of refuting her words. But you have to keep your eyes open. There are many liars who cheat people's feelings nowadays. Those people are especially hateful, you know. Yes. They are especially hateful. Tang Jiu suddenly raised her voice and glared at Su Yin. Su Yin choked halfway through his words. He was not a liar who cheated people's feelings. Why was Tang Jiu's expression clearly calling him a liar? Pan Fei, who had just felt that the atmosphere was particularly relaxed, became nervous again. She stuck out her tongue and hurriedly turned her head. She really didn't know if it was because she had said something wrong. Why was President Tang suddenly unhappy when he was fine just now? It wasn't easy to work beside a CEO. Pan Fei was deeply touched. Tang Jiu was already considered a mild-tempered female CEO. At least, she wouldn't lose her temper for no reason. Even so, Pan Fei still felt worried sometimes. In the blink of an eye, the car drove into the courtyard of the Medicinal Cuisine Hotel. As the boss, the chauffeur, of course, did not look for a parking space like the others. He directly drove the car up the ramp and parked at the entrance of the hotel. Tang Jiu did not wait for the chauffeur or the secretary to open the door. She directly opened the door and got out of the car. Guagua, who had been waiting for her at the entrance after school, immediately pounced on her. Sister Little Jiu, did you miss me? Guagua's mouth was sweet. She was the best at talking. Guagua missed you very, very much. Yes, I missed you very, very much too. Tang Jiu gently pinched Guagua's little face. Then she greeted Ruan Qing Shuang and the others. Sister Shuang, Cho Yun, I've really troubled you today. It's only right to trouble you. You are part of our family. You don't have to be so polite to your sister. Ruan Qing Shuang was very considerate. I heard from Lu Feng and the others that they wanted to have a celebration party. I think it's more appropriate to change it to a family gathering. Tang Jiu heard this and was very touched. Ruan Qing Shuang and Guagua sincerely treated her as family. Of course she could feel it. Tang Jiu, congratulations. Cho Yin smiled faintly. Tang Jiu's reputation was really not small. Of course, this was what the three tigers of Southern City and their underlings thought in their hearts. At this time, Su Yin and his secretary Pan Fei also got out of the car. Because Tang Jiu said that everyone who helped in the morning should come to the celebration banquet. The little brothers brought by the three tigers of Southern City were everywhere. Pan Fei couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. When they saw Su Yin get out of the car, the Southern City three tigers took the lead to greet Brother Yin. Then a lot of voices rang out. They were all calling Brother Yin, Brother Yin. This scene completely scared Tang Yifei and Tang Xiaofeng silly. The two of them had always thought that they could do well in Jibei City by relying on their family status and the strength of their wallets. But today, they were completely shocked by Su Yin, who they thought was the underworld boss of a small city. How was this an underworld boss? He could be a local emperor. His prestige was too high. The underlings who helped in the morning are all here, right? Su Yin didn't greet them. He didn't want the scene to be like a gang gathering. If you're all here, then hurry up and listen to the arrangements. Don't block the door. We're still open for business. Don't scare the other guests. Since Brother Yin had spoken, everyone began to listen to Sister Shuang's arrangements and went directly to the banquet hall on the first floor. The banquet hall of the Medicinal Cuisine Hotel was not small. It could hold at least 20 tables. Ruan Qing Shuang had calculated that the three tigers of Southern City and all their underlings would have 15 tables at most. Su Yun's own people and the people from the Tang group would have more than 3 tables. Therefore, 18 tables were very spacious. But due to Tang Jiu's identity, Ruan Qing Shuang still reserved a single room. Seeing that Tang Jiu was about to go to the banquet hall, Ruan Qing Shuang hurriedly stopped her. Tang Jiu, let's go to the single room. And the people from your company, let's go to the single room together. That won't do. Tang Jiu rejected. Sister Shuang, today's celebration banquet is secondary. Like you said, it's a family gathering. While it's a family gathering, I have to thank the friends who helped me so much this morning. There's no need. Those are Su Yun's underlings. You don't have to worry about those things. WanQingshuang smiled. But Tang Jiu was very persistent. Sister Shuang, if that's the case, I always feel that I'm very special. I don't feel like a family member at all. You guys still don't treat me as one of you. Guogua smiled and comforted her. Sister Little Jiu, Mom didn't mean it that way. She's just afraid that those guys will be too noisy. Also, once they drink and smoke, the banquet hall will be filled with smoke. She's afraid that you won't be used to it. Habits can be changed. I'll get used to it. Tang Jiu insisted. Since she was already like this, Wan Qingshuang had no other choice. She could only look at Su Yun. It seemed that this matter was still up to Su Yun to arrange. Sister Shuang, we'll go wherever Tang Jiu wants to go. She's happy today, so we'll listen to her. Su Yun didn't care. In any case, he really didn't treat Tang Jiu as an outsider. If she was an outsider, he wouldn't have helped her so much. Tang Jiu's face finally revealed a smile. Although Su Yun hated people sometimes, the only person who truly understood her was Su Yun. Guogua happily pulled Tang Jiu into the banquet hall. Seeing that Su Yun and Wan Qingshuang, who were originally going to enter a private room, had entered the banquet hall, under the leadership of the southern city's 3 tigers, nearly 150 people in the banquet hall all stood up. Sit down. The space is so big, we'll definitely be able to sit down. Wan Qingshuang had unknowingly adapted to this kind of atmosphere. However, since the big sisters and guests didn't sit down, they naturally didn't sit down. It wasn't because they were afraid, but because they respected them. Wan Qingshuang was able to gain the respect of so many people, because she never looked down on them. She treated them very well and cared for them as if they were her own family. Su Yun didn't know why, but a few words appeared in his heart. When people over with virtue. The southern city's 3 tigers had already given up 3 tables in the middle of the banquet hall, and helped to greet the guests. Tang Yifei and Tang Xiaofeng didn't like to sit in this hall. The 2 of them sat at the same table with the 3 project managers. There were assistants who helped to serve tea and water, so they didn't have to do anything. The driver and the 7 bodyguards sat at the same table. They were quite familiar with each other. Chapter 343. This was a banquet hall that could accommodate 20 tables, so it was very spacious for 18 tables without a stage. Although there were about 200 people including the service staff, they were all in order and did not seem crowded at all. This also showed the respect of the 3 tigers of South City for Wan Qingshuang. They were usually not well-mannered people, but now they could sit quietly and consciously. They seemed to be very disciplined, as if they had been trained. This was definitely giving them enough face. Even the 7 extremely disciplined bodyguards from the Tang group were quite impressed. After all, such a large group of people. To put it bluntly, they were all gangsters. To be able to do this, it was really admirable. Tang Yifei and Tang Xiaofeng's table should be the quietest and most restrained of all. First of all, the 2 young masters of the Tang group were not in the mood. How could the others be happy? Even if they were, they had to suppress it. As for her family, they were quite jubilant. Guogua told Chou Yun that she felt like celebrating the new year. Chou Yun did not say anything. She just quietly touched Guogua's head. Because in the past, Feng Qiansui always invited all the people who had contributed to the Feng family, regardless of whether it was the elder brother or the younger brother. The scene was even bigger than this. Brothers, thank you for coming to the celebration banquet for the successful bid of the Tang group. Su Yun finally said, today's banquet is first to congratulate our Tang group's president Tang for winning the artificial river project. Secondly, to thank you for coming here this morning without hesitation. Today let's eat and drink well. We won't go home until we're drunk. Cheers. Everyone applauded. Some of the more flamboyant people stood up and shouted, saying that this was what they should do. Everyone laughed. At this time, Tang Jiu stood up and said, in fact, this should not be called a celebration banquet. It should be called a thank you banquet. Thank you for this morning. If you come to Jibei in the future, I will treat you as a VIP. Today, the Tang group was able to win the project because of your help. President Tang, you're too kind. What we did was just the icing on the cake. If it weren't for us, Brother Yin would have settled it for you. As the representative of the hooligans, Dan Hongning was the first to speak. He really felt that he couldn't accept Tang Jiu's politeness. Because this matter did not require so many brothers in the first place, Su Yin really could handle it. Chang Zi stood up as well. Yes. Big Brother Yin is the one who helped us in our hour of need. We're just following Big Brother Yin. President Tang, don't be so courteous with us. Quick, take a seat. How can we sit when you're standing? That's right. Brother Chang is right. Lu Feng and Kong Zhong also stood up. If President Tang doesn't sit, we'll all be punished to stand. The sound of chairs being dragged could be heard. The brothers at table 15 all stood up and said in unison, "Please take a seat, Co Tang." Seeing that their brothers were so obedient, the three tigers of Southern City were overjoyed. They felt a sense of accomplishment in front of Brother Yin. Because they all knew that Su Yin was a very principled and disciplined person. They believed that Su Yin would be happy to see this. Su Yin was from the Dragon Fury team. Of course, he liked the feeling of discipline. He laughed loudly. Ha. Let's just assemble you into an army. All right, don't be so restrained. Sit down all of you. Let President Tang finish what he has to say. Yes. The answer was neat, very neat. Tang Jiu smiled faintly. Everyone here today will receive a red packet. I, Tang Jiu, am also a person who has been through many hardships in this society. In the next 24 months, I will be working on the artificial river project in Hudong City. I'm afraid that I will have to trouble all of you. So, I want to say that you can't reject my red packet today. If you reject me, it means that you don't want to be involved with me, Tang Jiu. At this point, Su Yin was stunned. He admired Tang Jiu in his heart. Tang Jiu was really something. What he said sounded like a gangster. It was the best thing to say to make these people happy. Brothers who were in the underworld were very loyal. The three tigers of Southern City would not promote people who were not loyal. So those who were present today were all loyal brothers. So when they heard Tang Jiu's words, they were very excited. After all, not many bosses of large corporations would really look up to these so-called gangsters. In fact, they just didn't have a fixed job, but they usually relied on themselves to contact various channels to support their families. They were not the kind of hooligans who broke the law. Although they occasionally fought, it was for the benefit of themselves, their families, or their friends. In Ruan Qingshuang's words, she did not hate gangsters who lived a life, but she hated hooligans who ruined lives. Strictly speaking, the three tigers of Nanqing were all gangsters with legitimate businesses. The people under them all had jobs to do, so they were definitely not that kind of shameless hooligans. They were a group of brothers who were very loyal. About this red packet, I have something to say. Accept all of it. No one needs to be polite. Dan Hongning stood up. If you feel that it is not appropriate to accept this money, come and say hello to me. I will counsel him. No matter what, Dan Hongning was still a senior figure, so his words carried a lot of weight. No one would not listen to him. Have you prepared the things I asked you to? Tang Jiu glanced at his personal secretary Pan Fei. When the Tang Corporation participated in the bidding in the afternoon, Tang Jiu asked Pan Fei to prepare red packets. In this day and age, ordinary people's annual contributions were more than 5 figures. Not to mention the CEO of the Tang Corporation. There were too many connections in various aspects. Marriage, children moving into a house, company opening, housewarming, and ribbon cutting. All of these required red packets. So as a secretary, she definitely did not lack these things. She had at least 8 or 10 red packets. Was it not enough? There were at least a few hundred red packets in the car. These things were prepared for a long time. During the bidding, Pan Fei did not have anything to do. She started to give out red packets. She roughly estimated that there would be 150 to 60 red packets. Tang Jiu brought 100,000 cash with him. Each red packet contained 500 red packets. It's ready. Pan Fei knew what Tang Jiu meant. She immediately got up to distribute the red packets. The female assistants of the 3 project managers also got up to help. Soon, each of the underlings present had a red packet. There were a total of 147 red packets. Of course, Su Yin, Chang, and the 3 tigers of Southern City did not receive any red packets. Pan Fei was also a sensible person. She knew that if the people sitting at the same table as CEO Tang used 500 to thank him, it would be too cold. It was even a bit of a slap in the face. Below, some of the underlings secretly opened their red packets. 500 yuan. That was a lot. One must know that with the level of economic development in Hudong, the so-called appearance fee for this kind of thing was not high. Most of the time it was only 100 yuan. Some generous people would pay 100 yuan and add a 100 yuan cigarette. Most of the people present had probably never received an appearance fee of 500 yuan. So they were all very surprised. They all rushed to whisper to each other and asked how they should deal with this thing. To put it bluntly, this money was indeed too much. They really could not accept it. Fortunately, Dan Hongning had said at the beginning that if they felt that it was inappropriate, they could go to him and he would deal with it. It's just a token of my appreciation. Because I don't have much cash on me. I hope that you won't mind. Tang Jiu said this not to show off that she had a lot of money. She really felt that the money was not that much. According to her style of doing things, she felt that she should give at least 1,000 yuan per person. Su Yin was afraid that she would be conflicted about this problem. He could only interrupt her. All right, Tang Jiu. Today's matter was not difficult for us. If you feel bad, then let's start drinking and eating. You can toast to us 2 cups. That's more than 2 red packets of gratitude. As long as Su Yin opened his mouth, the response would definitely be extraordinary. Every one of the underlings became the king of cheering. Yes. President Tang's toast is worth 2 cups. At this time, the kitchen started serving the dishes. Because Ruan Qingshuang had asked the kitchen to prepare Liangshan. Liangshan was well prepared. Even if the dishes were served here, it would not affect the other guests at the hotel at all. Moreover, the speed of the dishes was very fast. 20 waiters walked around the banquet hall. The delicious food was quickly presented in front of everyone. Tang Jiu was in a particularly relaxed mood today. She indeed had the intention of drinking a few cups. Seeing that the dishes were served, Chang and Dan Hongning were also responsible for opening the wine and pouring the wine. As for the tea, it was left to Lu Feng and Kang Zhong. With the 4 of them serving the guests, they would definitely do a good job. After pouring the wine, Tang Jiu picked up the wine glass and stood up. Tang Jiu would like to propose a toast to everyone. Once again, I sincerely thank you on behalf of the Tang Corporation. Su Yun, I will personally thank you later. At this time, the people from the Tang Corporation also stood up and proposed a toast with Tang Jiu. Tang Yifei and Tang Xiaofeng, who originally did not want to participate, had no choice but to stand up with their wine glasses. However, they were very reluctant in their hearts. Just drink half of it. Su Yin also stood up. Looking at Tang Jiu's state, it seemed that she was really going to drink to her heart's content. Although he knew that Tang Jiu's alcohol tolerance could be described as enormous, if she really drank to her heart's content, the possibility of getting drunk was very high. Su Yin stood up. Everyone also stood up with their wine glasses. Tang Jiu did not listen to Su Yun's words. She directly raised her glass and drank it in one gulp. Although the glass size was smaller, it was still more than 2 ounces of white wine. I'll drink it. Brothers, help yourselves. This was definitely a woman who did not lose to men. Tang Jiu's high alcohol tolerance completely stimulated everyone present. Since a woman drank it, naturally, there was no reason for them to drink anymore. They all followed Tang Jiu and drank it in one gulp. Su Yin really felt that his head was hurting. This group of people, none of them were dishonest. Can you all slow down a little? Do you want to drink all the wine here, or what? Drink less, I'm very stingy. Chang poured wine for Tang Jiu and the people at the table who drank it all. He shook the bottle and said, Brother, if you are stingy, don't drink this wine that was hidden by the Kong family for 8 years. This wine is soft in the mouth, it tickles the throat, and it won't go to the head the next morning. Chapter 344. Soon, Tang Jiu made a second toast on behalf of the Tang Corporation. She drank it all in one gulp. Everyone applauded and applauded. No one did not admire Tang Jiu's alcohol tolerance. Wan Qingshuang did not know Tangjiu's alcohol tolerance. She tried to stop her several times, but she was too embarrassed to do so. Su Yin saw Wan Qingshuang's worry and quietly told her not to worry. This was 38% alcohol, and the glass was 2.5 ounces. Tangjiu would probably be able to drink at least 12 glasses. Since she was happy, he did not want to spoil her mood. At most, she would drink too much. Anyway, she did not need to rush back to Jibei today. After 3 rounds of drinking, Tangjiu had given 3 consecutive toasts. He had given enough face. Some of the brothers who couldn't handle alcohol got a little tipsy after 3 toasts. Alcohol wasn't something that anyone could drink 1,000 cups without getting drunk. It was already considered good if one could hold more than a caddy of alcohol. Most of them would get drunk after 7 or 8 tails. Tangjiu, who had an absolute capacity, did not intend to stop there. She raised her glass to Chang and the 3 tigers of Southern City. More importantly, Tangjiu was very particular. She did not propose a toast with the 3 of them. Instead, she proposed a one-on-one toast. It was obvious that the man-made river project was very important to Tangjiu. That was why she was so grateful to everyone who had helped her. As for Su Yun, who had helped her the most, it was not something that could be expressed through a toast. Therefore, she did not intend to toast to Su Yun from the beginning. President Tang, you really have a good tolerance. Chang was a little embarrassed. He drank the first 3 glasses. Now that Tangjiu had finished it in one gulp, he could not drink. Cheers. At this time, Tangjiu's alcohol tolerance really shocked the people at the table. The 3 tigers of Southern City sighed. If it was a one-on-one drinking contest, none of them would dare to play with Tangjiu like this. No wonder people said that once a woman could drink, she would not be able to compete with an average man. Hurry up and eat something. Wan Qingshuang said as she asked Guogua to help Tangjiu pick up the food. Guogua was quite sensible. She picked up the shrimps and crispy bones for Tangjiu, and even advised Tangjiu to drink less. However, Tangjiu's expression was unusually sober. If someone who didn't know better saw her, they would definitely not believe that she was someone who drank 4 glasses of wine. At first, Su Yun was quite nervous and didn't want Tangjiu to drink like this. But now he felt that it didn't matter. As long as Tangjiu wanted to drink, no one would be able to stop him. Then, let him drink and bring out today's excitement. Tangjiu responded to Wan Qingshuang and took a bite of the food. Then he picked up his glass and started with Lu Feng. I won't say any more polite words. I hope you can take care of the future project in Hudong. President Tang, you're too polite. Just say the word if you need anything. Lu Feng was very forthright. If you say so, there is something I might need to trouble you with. Tangjiu smiled embarrassedly. Before the project starts, I need to renovate the river. President Tang, you don't need to say any more. Lu Feng was happy to hear that. You must think that this task is too small and troublesome, so you want to find someone to contract for it? Tangjiu nodded. Yes, I do want to find someone to contract for it. Because we need to do the detailed design of the project in the early stages, we don't want to be delayed by the river construction. Dan Hongning laughed. President Tang, even if you didn't mention this, we would have asked Brother Yun to help us apply for the job from you. Kong Zhong patted his chest. Leave the river construction to us. President Tang, don't worry. If the work isn't done well, we won't take a single cent. Tangjiu stared at Su Yin with wide eyes. Su Yin knew what she was thinking. Are you saying that only the Tang Corporation is allowed to do construction work, but we can't? They have a construction team. Don't worry, they are legitimate. Although they only have a 3rd-level qualification, it will be a piece of cake for them to deal with a river. Besides, Kong Zhong used to be in the river sand business. He has plenty of people who can clean up the silt at the bottom of the river. Like they said, if you don't do it well, you don't have to pay. That's great. Name your price. Tangjiu was more forthright than a man. I'm more relieved to have you guys do this work. Come on, President Tang, don't mention the money. You're giving me this job because you think highly of me. Lu Feng raised his glass and replied. Here's to you. Here's to you for letting me find another job for my brothers to earn a living. Everyone was straightforward, so they quickly got familiar with each other. Tangjiu made a preliminary budget. The cost of renovating the river was indeed not small, so she decided to sign a contract with Lu Feng as soon as possible. Because the company had to pay him 3 million in advance, they would pay him another 30% after the river was cleaned up. Once all the problems were solved, they would settle the bill. Not only could they drink, eat, make friends, and do business, the southern city's 3 tigers were all smiling. After Tang Jiu gave 3 toasts to the southern city's 3 tigers, she actually started toasting to the brothers at each table. Although Tang Jiu only drank half a glass of wine at each table, there were 15 tables. After a round, she would drink 7 or 8 glasses of wine. In addition, she had drunk a lot before, so everyone was very understanding. Not to mention drinking half a glass, it was a great honor for these brothers that Tang Jiu could even order a glass of wine. After a round of drinking, Tang Jiu finally felt a little tipsy. She said that she needed to go to the bathroom, then got up and left alone. Pan Fei immediately got up and followed her, but was stopped by Su Yun. "Secretary Pan, you go and eat. Leave Tang Jiu's matter to me." Su Yun got up and said. At this time, he needed to remind Tang Jiu. If she continued to drink, it would really hurt her body. Ruan Qingshuang was also very anxious. She urged Su Yun to quickly go and check on Tang Jiu, in case something happened to her. Guogua shook her head like a little adult and sighed. "If you have too much luck with women, it will be a disaster with women." Ruan Qingshuang picked up a piece of butterfly fish head and put it on Guogua's plate. "So much delicious food can't stop your mouth? Don't worry about adult matters. Hurry up and eat. After eating, I'll take you upstairs to do your homework. Today is a celebration banquet. It's such a happy day. Don't I need to do my homework?" Guogua pouted. Before Chou Yun said anything, Ruan Qingshuang directly said, "Of course not. Completing homework every day is something that must be done well. If you can't even do such a small thing, Guogua won't be a successful person in the future." All right, I got it." Guogua stuck out her tongue. It seemed that she had to slow down her eating speed so that she could play downstairs for a while longer. She couldn't help it. After all, she loved to be lively. Tang Jiu washed her face with cold water in the bathroom. She had drunk quite a lot that day. She could feel her cheeks burning. The cold water made Tang Jiu sober up a lot. She walked out of the hotel and looked at the brightly lit eastern suburbs with a melancholic expression. "Wipe your face and hands. Otherwise, the wind will dry your skin." Su Yun walked in front of Tang Jiu with a tissue and handed it to her. Tang Jiu took the tissue and smiled faintly. "Thank you." Su Yun looked in the direction Tang Jiu was looking. "Do you miss Uncle Tang very much?" Tang Jiu smiled but didn't say anything. After gently wiping all the water off her face and hands, she said faintly, "Yes. If I tell you, don't laugh at me. I've never left my father's side since I was young. Even when I was in university, because I was studying at Jibei University, I would go home every day. So, I've never left my father's side for such a long time. I remember the last time I left my father was when I ran to Hudong by myself. It was that night when I drank too much with you. Haha. Then you're so lucky." Su Yun said faintly. "Actually, I thought about bringing Uncle Tang over today, but I think it's better for you to do some things yourself. But you didn't mention it. I think you must have your own reasons." Tang Jiu nodded without hesitation. "Actually, I really can't wait to see my father. Previously, I really wanted to bring him over to celebrate with me. But later, I gave up on the idea because I was afraid. I was afraid that I would cry. I didn't want to cry in front of so many people. But I'm sure that if my father was by my side, I wouldn't be able to control myself tonight." Su Yun smiled understandingly. As the female CEO of a corporation, of course, you can't be a crying little girl. All right, you can see Uncle Tang tomorrow. Now you can't see him even if you're dying. I want to go there later." Tang Jiu said. "I want to go to my father's place tonight. Su Yun, arrange for my people to stay. I want to go to my father's place." Su Yun naturally understood the feelings between father and daughter. He didn't think too much about it. "All right, I'll arrange for someone to send us off. But you have to promise me that you won't drink anymore. I don't want your father to see a drunk woman. It's too bad for my standards." TSK, I don't mind even if I drink a few more glasses. Tangjio didn't care. First, tell me if you agree or not. If you still want to drink, then I won't take responsibility. You can think of a way yourself. Don't tell Uncle Tang that you drank at my place. Su-yin insisted. Tangjio hurriedly agreed. I promise that I won't touch a drop of alcohol from now on, okay? You're really an auntie now. Did you grow up drinking the water of the Pacific Ocean? You're such a busybody. Before Tangjio could finish, more than 10 cars entered the courtyard of the hotel one after another. The headlights were so bright that they couldn't open their eyes. Su-yin was stunned. At this time they couldn't be here to eat. Were they here to stay? But today, all the available rooms were arranged for the people of Tang Group. There probably weren't that many available rooms. Seeing a BMW 760 Li stop in front of them, and someone come out to open the door for them, Tangjio guessed that this was a big boss. Why did he look for a hotel at this time? If such a big boss wanted to stay, his secretary would have booked it in advance. Chapter 345. Clearly, the two of them wore gold necklaces under their heads. One of them had a cast on his arm that was hanging in front of his chest. At a glance, it was obvious that he was He Hu, who had been beaten to a pulp by Su-yin. The other bald man was He Bao, who had always been by Fan Tianlong's side. Finally, Fan Tianlong got out of the luxurious 7 Series BMW. He tidied his collar out of habit, making himself look like a gentleman. It had to be said that other than his cold eyes when he was angry, he looked quite refined when he was smiling. If he wore a pair of glasses, he would look like a nerdy otaku. It was just that his taste in dressing was much higher. He was either wearing Armani or Gucci from head to toe. They were all famous brands. Tangjio knew that Fan Tianlong didn't come with good intentions when she saw him. She frowned. Su-yin, he must be unwilling to let the project fall into my hands. Who knows if he's harboring some evil ideas right now. No matter how many ideas he has, he can't change what has already been decided. Let him be. Su-yin didn't care. Tangjio could get the project and give Qin Zhongming a perfect design. This was a win-win situation for everyone. If anyone wanted to ruin this outcome, Su-yin wouldn't let it go. No matter who it was, if anyone dared to have any ideas, Su-yin would accompany them to the end. After all, this project was in Hudong City. It was under his control. If anyone wanted to fight with him, they would be provoking the Almighty. Look at how many people he brought. I'm worried that he will. Tangjio couldn't help but worry when she saw so many cars. Fan Tianlong brought a lot of people. There were about 100 of them in total. Most of them had been beaten up by the 3 tigers of Southern City in batches in the morning. Originally, these guys were all taken to the police station. However, because Fan Tianlong had asked Feng Guoqing for help, the process of ransoming them wasn't complicated. He just had to spend some money. Su-yun's lips curled into a sinister smile. He sneered and said, "Worried that he will challenge us? Are my brothers eating and drinking in the banquet hall all good for nothings? Since their people are here, we can't be cowards." A few security guards came forward to question them, but they were immediately subdued by Fan Tianlong's men. When Dan Jiahao saw that the situation was not good, he retreated while cursing. After all, the other party had the advantage in numbers. He was also afraid that Su-yin would be at a disadvantage. "Brother Yin, you first? Go in and tell your brother about the situation. Also let them drink slowly. Don't rush out. I still have something to say to this person." Su-yun's calmness once again made the young Dan Jiahao worship him. Su-yun was the most domineering man he had ever met. Dan Jiahao turned around to report. Although Brother Yin said so, he didn't want to let Brother Yin face danger alone. It was better to have more brothers. Fan Tianlong strode forward with He Hu and He Bao following closely behind him. Behind them, all the lackeys who got out of the car also followed. There were also a few people who were responsible for blocking the entrance of the hotel, not allowing anyone to enter or leave. Their position was very clear. They were here to pick a fight. Since Tangjio took over the Tang family, he had faced many difficulties, but he had never faced such a situation. It was obvious that he didn't know what to do at the moment. His heart was filled with worry. "Oh, what a coincidence. Fan Tianlong walked in front of the two and smiled slightly. Isn't this Boss Yin and President Tang? TSK. President Tang, it's not that I'm being nosy, but actually, a girl must be reserved. Do you know what is reserved? Reserved means that you can't sleep with a man so early. You're not reserved. Boss Yin just helped you, and you're accompanying him to a hotel. This is too much of a social butterfly. This Fan Tianlong obviously knew what was going on, but he pretended to know nothing. He deliberately said such words to disgust Tang Jiu. President Tang, if you had said that you would accompany whoever could help you win this project, then I wouldn't have appeared in this project for the sake of a beauty's heart. Why did you go through so much trouble? Fan Tianlong's laughter was very despicable. Tang Jiu angrily reprimanded. Brat, are you looking for a beating? I hope you'll mind your words and actions. Fan Tianlong was not moved at all. Oh, you don't have to be so angry. Did I touch President Tang's sore spot? President Tang, after all, we already know each other. Just treat us as friends. I like to joke. If there's anything you're not used to, then I hope you won't take it to heart. Don't mind, haha. I'm sorry, but we're competitors at best. It's far from what you call friends. President Fan, we're not friends at all, so I hope you can be more respectful with your words. Tang Jiu had lost his patience to continue talking to him. Fan Tianlong smiled proudly. It seems that the girl still doesn't dare to admit it. She's shy. Isn't that right, Boss Yin? Su Yin found Fan Tianlong's way of addressing him really awkward. Mr. Fan, this hotel is mine. You can't possibly come here without asking around. Since you're prepared, then tell me what you think. Straightforward. Fan Tianlong slapped his thigh. Since Boss Yin has made it so clear, then I won't beat around the bush. I'm going to take this project. I just want to ask President Tang for a price. I'll pay and you'll withdraw. Why? Impossible. Tang Jiu rejected immediately. She didn't want to compete for this project to make money. Fan Tianlong said coldly, President Tang, how much money do you think this project can make? Just tell me, and I'll give it to you. But you have to give it to me. I know that the Tang Group already has a special grade qualification for housing construction. But my Glory Construction Group doesn't have this qualification. We're still at the first grade. So I hope President Tang can give me a way out and let me have this project. My goal is very simple. I'm not doing this to make money. I'm doing this for next year's qualification assessment. Tang Jiu snorted. I'm sorry, President Fan. This has nothing to do with me, right? Fan Tianlong's expression turned even colder. The Tang Group has a special grade qualification. So President Tang should be very clear about the requirements for this qualification. I've worked hard for the past 3 years to get this qualification. I've met all the requirements. The only thing left is that the average settlement income for the past 3 years is more than 1.5 billion yuan. I'll emphasize again. This has nothing to do with me or the Tang Group. Tang Jiu was unmoved. Fan Tianlong was exasperated. The construction industry these past few years can't be compared to when the Tang Group was developing. It's too hard to compete for projects now. I'm just a little bit away from reaching this number. As long as I can get this project, I'll have the capital to get the special grade qualification. President Tang, it's fine if you want to fight with me for this project and profit. But if you steal my plan and my chance to get the special grade qualification, then you'll be destroying all my years of hard work. Aren't you going overboard by doing this? No wonder Fan Tianlong was willing to do anything for this project. He had thought so far ahead. He didn't just want the profit of this project, but also the profit of his company's future development. For a construction company, a special grade qualification was like a universal pass. It meant that they could compete for more than 90% of the projects in the country. This wasn't something that could be exchanged for just a little profit. Hearing this, Su Yin and Tang Jiu felt a little sorry for Fan Tianlong. This was something that he had been pursuing for many years. It was understandable that he would be angry out of humiliation. But it was a little too much to play tricks. Following that, Fan Tianlong's words made Su Yin and Tang Jiu's sympathy vanish instantly. You can find a way to get the registration funds through connections. The qualification certificates of managers and engineers can be faked. As long as you are willing to spend money to get through connections, no one will really investigate you. There are many things that can be faked to get away with. But the only thing that can't be faked is the settlement of the project. The money is clearly accounted for. Fan Tianlong gritted his teeth as he spoke. Tang Jiu was shocked when he heard this. You mean to say that you've already spent money to get the other qualifications settled? So what you're especially lacking is the total amount of the settlement of the project? Fan Tianlong felt no shame or guilt. That's right. The only thing I'm lacking is this. The only thing I'm lacking is the settlement of the project. I've been looking for projects for this year, but I don't have the right to compete for big projects. Small projects don't make much money either. Finally, I'm involved in this man-made river project. President Tang, you're here to snatch this toothpick-thick meat from me again. Your Tang Enterprise is such a big company. You won't fight with me over it, right? Maybe not in the past, but now that I've heard about it, you've faked everything. Even if you have a special grade qualification, you still don't have the ability to take on the various risks and difficulties of a big project. Then the project you're working on will definitely be a shoddy project. Tang Jiu snorted. If that's the case, then all the more I won't give it to you. I definitely won't let you get a special grade qualification to do things that harm society. When Tang Jiu's sense of justice and mission exploded, he really did look like a real person. Su Yin admired his true nature. Hearing Tang Jiu's words, Fan Tianlong's expression changed. President Tang, if you say so, then I won't hold back. If you don't give up on this project today, my people will burn down this hotel. Also, wherever you go in the future, my people will follow. I'll let you know what it means to be haunted by demons. Such a straightforward threat sounded ordinary when it came out of Fan Tianlong's mouth. It seemed like this guy had threatened quite a few people. You're shameless. Tang Jiu's abuse was like scratching an itch for a bastard who treated gangsters as his personality. However, Su Yin was interested. President Fan, oh no, young Master Long, did you just say that you're going to burn down my hotel? Su Yin's smile was especially amiable. Did I hear wrongly? Fan Tianlong glared at him viciously. What? You think I don't dare? Chapter 346. Just as Su Yin finished speaking, the brothers who had a tacit understanding of each other swarmed out of the hotel under the leadership of Chang and the 3 tigers of Southern City. Every one of them was glaring angrily. Within a minute, nearly 150 brothers in the banquet hall all came out. They were holding temporary weapons such as wine bottles in their hands. Very quickly they surrounded Fan Tianlong's people. Seeing that the other party's aura was so strong, Fan Tianlong's brothers who were suppressing the security guards of the Medicinal Cuisine Hotel had no choice but to let them go. In an instant, the arrogant Fan Tianlong seemed to have been splashed with a bucket of cold water by Su Yin, extinguishing his flame in an instant. They had never expected that there would be so many people in the hotel. Moreover, they were the people who had beaten them up in the morning. Whether it was psychologically or in other aspects, they had a great sense of oppression. As for their aura, there was no need to mention it at all. They were completely suppressed. Fan Tianlong, F*CKU. Do you think this is your Yijiang? You're still so arrogant in Hudong. I think you don't want to live anymore. Lu Feng didn't say anything and directly strode forward. Were you the one who sent the people who tricked me a few days ago? Fan Tianlong was stunned for a moment. Although he had seen storms and big scenes, his reaction was somewhat slow. Oh, I was wondering who it was. So it's Lu Feng, one of the 3 tigers of Southern City in Hudong City. Why don't you be the boss? Instead, you're someone else's lackey? Lu Feng didn't fall for it. Get lost. Don't F*King try to sow discord. I don't fall for it. My brothers don't fall for it either. I'm F*King asking you. That night a week ago, were you the one who sent those people to Hudong City? Lu Feng, don't pour dirty water on me. Fan Tianlong snorted. I've given you face, haven't I? Who do you think you are? How dare you talk to me like that? No matter how F*King bad I am, I'm still Yijiang's boss. As he spoke, Fan Tianlong raised his index finger. And what the F*CK are you? It's only a dog. Without waiting for Lu Feng to flip out, Dan Hongning and Kang Zhong stepped forward. It was unknown when the two of them had taken out their weapons, but each of them had a rifle in their hands. They loaded it and walked towards Fan Tianlong. Fan Tianlong, you bastard. You dare to do it, but you don't dare to admit it? There was no need to mention how arrogant Dan Hongning was. He raised the gun with one hand and aimed it directly at Fan Tianlong's head. If Fan Tianlong hadn't retreated quickly, he would have been hit by him. His posture was so cool that it made his younger brother, Dan Jiahao, feel a surge of emotions. This kid rarely admired his brother. Although this wasn't the first time, it was one of the very few times. Kang Zhong was also holding another rifle. You dare to do it, but you don't dare to admit it? That's the same gun that shot my brother that night. Fan Tianlong, do you think we haven't investigated this matter? Let me tell you, we already knew that you did it. You came here today to seek your own death. The guns of the two weren't brought, but were seized from the hands of Fan Tianlong's men. Because Fan Tianlong had arranged for people to block the 3 exits of Hudong Highway, the 3 exits in the east, south, and north, each of the brothers brought a gun to intimidate the scene. The gun on the bald man, he who, at the north exit was bent by Su Yun, so it was thrown into the river as a piece of junk. These 2 intact seized guns were each held by Dan Hongning and Kang Zhong. Because the 3 of them were also old foxes in the underworld, they knew that the other party wouldn't give up so easily, so they brought the guns when they came to the hotel for the celebration party. Even if they didn't use it, they would give the guns to Su Yun to deal with. Without Su Yun's order, they definitely wouldn't secretly hide the guns. After all, Su Yun had always led them to the right path. Although the brothers had to be tough when it was time to be tough and ruthless when it was time to be ruthless, they had to be people with status. Once they had something to do with guns, it wasn't a serious matter. Even if Su Yun agreed, Qin Wan, the impartial woman, would definitely not agree. Don't slander me. Fan Tianlong tried to let his brothers surround him. To be honest, he didn't want to be shot. Do you believe that I won't call the police? This is called endangering my physical safety. Qiangzi smiled. The crime of endangering your physical safety? Is there such a crime? It's called endangering personal safety. If you don't know the law, don't pretend to be cultured. Stop talking nonsense in front of Brother Yun. Kneel down and kowtow 3 times to apologize. After all, Fan Tianlong was the tyrant of Yijiang City. Usually, it was his underlings who said such words to others. He didn't expect himself to fall to this step today. The underlings who were beaten up in the morning and taken to the police station didn't have any imposing manner. Now that they were slapped in the face, each of them hung their heads and didn't dare to make a sound. Young Master Long. This person really can't be provoked. He who had his arm broken by Su Yun, was very clear about Su Yun's strength. It was simply abnormal. He whispered in Fan Tianlong's ear. Why don't we just endure it? Endure. Could it be that he, Fan Tianlong, really had to kneel down and kowtow? What a joke. A man has gold under his knees. A real man can be killed but not humiliated. Fan Tianlong, who had lived for 30 years, had never lowered his head. Ever since his father became the boss of Yijiang City and gave birth to him, he didn't know what it meant to kneel. Fan Tianlong pointed at Dan Hongning and Kang Zhong and said, Don't slander me without evidence. You want to use guns, right? Okay, I'll call the police. Let's wait for the police to come and see who's King cleaner. In order to not let himself be humiliated, Fan Tianlong did this to hurt the morale of his own people. They were gangsters, and they actually asked the police for help when they were in trouble. Wasn't this a slap to their own face? Especially those who had just been rescued from the police station. They were even more dejected. Originally, they came to Hudong City with full confidence, but they didn't expect to be reduced to this. After being interrogated by the police, they still had to ask the police for help. Who wants to look for the police? Qin Wan, who had just finished working overtime, had just come back and saw such a chaotic scene in the hotel. Just as she stepped through the door, she heard someone asking for the police. Seeing Qin Wan come back, Dan Hongning and Kang Zhong hurriedly put down the guns in their hands. They couldn't act recklessly. If Qin Wan saw them, it would be terrible. She was so serious that she would really take them back for interrogation. Sister Wan, you came back at the right time. Guogua shouted excitedly. For her point of view, Suyin didn't dare to agree. If Qin Waner didn't come, they could teach Fan Tianlong and his people a lesson and slap them in the face. But when Qin Waner came back, there was definitely no hope. She was so methodical in her work that Suyin and his people couldn't let her go. When Fan Tianlong saw Qin Waner come in, he was stunned for a while because Qin Waner was still wearing the police uniform. Obviously, Fan Tianlong and his people were shocked. However, Fan Tianlong's reaction was very fast. There was a saying that went, "Officer, this is a gangster restaurant. We came here to eat and were robbed. You see, they have guns in their hands. You see, they have so many people and they beat up my people. You have to redress our grievances." Redress your grievances? Unless Sister Wan-er's head is stuck in the door. Guogua snorted. Relying on the number of people, she was not afraid of Fan Tianlong. Her small steps made Ruan Qingshuang unable to stop her. She ran directly in front of Qin Waner. These people are here to cause trouble. Qin Waner rolled her eyes. Do you know what it means to cause trouble? Also, don't use the phrase "head is stuck in the door" to describe me. Seeing that the police was so close to the other party, Fan Tianlong was even more nervous. Well, it turns out to be a cooperation between the police and the robbers. It is indeed the biggest gangster restaurant in Hudong City. Qin Waner impatiently stared at Fan Tianlong. What are you shouting about? What gangster restaurant? Believe it or not, I will sue you for slander. After that, she stared at Su Yun. What kind of people did you provoke? They want to cause trouble, right? That's none of my business. You deal with it yourself. Hearing that, Su Yun was happy. Deal with it himself? Of course, he would beat them to death. Waner, I'm sorry. This trouble is caused by me. If Tang Jiu did not speak, Qin Waner would not have been able to see him because there were too many people at the scene. Qin Waner stared at him for a long time. Why are you here? Tang Jiu gave Qin Waner a simple and clear explanation of the situation. Qin Waner stared at him on the spot, and turned to look at Fan Tianlong and his gang. So, today's large-scale arrest was caused by you? Do you know that because of you, I had to work overtime? Because of you, I couldn't come back to the celebration party. Officer Qin, these are the guns they brought. We have studied them. They are the same as the guns used in the large-scale fight a week ago. Dan Hongning and Kong Zhong took the opportunity to hand over the guns. When Qin Waner saw the two powerful rifles, she knew that this matter must be serious. Without saying anything, she called the police station and briefly explained the situation. Once again, she mobilized all the police forces that she could to carry out a large-scale arrest and investigation. Fortunately, the city police station's director Chen was a fair person. He did not show mercy just because the people they wanted to arrest were the ones Secretary Feng wanted to release. He immediately arranged for the police to be dispatched. Hearing that the other party was serious, Fan Tianlong panicked a little. He gave a look, which clearly meant that he wanted to rush out of the encirclement. His subordinates also had the idea of fighting like cornered beasts. No one wanted to be caught again because if they were caught again, it wouldn't be as simple as a civil detention issue. They might have to face a criminal investigation. Seeing that the other party was getting angry, Su Yun glanced at Qin Waner. Officer Qin, I'm afraid that the people you want to arrest are trying to escape. Do you need us good citizens to help you? Aren't you talking nonsense? Qin Waner snorted and laughed. Of course I need the help of good citizens like you. You know that I like the cooperation of the police and the people the most. This way, the public security of Hudong City will be more stable and harmonious. If there are outsiders who want to destroy the public security of Hudong City, everyone will be responsible. Su Yun smiled and cracked his knuckles. Brothers, did you hear that? Officer Qin said that everyone will be responsible. Chapter 347. In fact, Su Yun was surprised by Qin Waner's decision. After all, Qin Waner had always been very principled in doing things. This time, she actually tolerated the gang beating in front of him. In the past, it would have been impossible. Qin Waner, why are you so nice this time? The fight below was a mess, while Su Yun was standing at the hotel lobby talking and laughing. When he saw Fan Tianlong being surrounded by Qiangzi and Dan Hongning, he couldn't help but secretly laugh in his heart. Qin Wan'er glared at the gangsters who couldn't break out of the encirclement. She sneered, "If the project is taken away by these weak companies, then Hudong City won't have a good project at all. It will just be another piece of tofu dregs. If something happens, I'm afraid the first one to be unlucky will be the leader in charge of the project." Su Yun finally understood why Qin Wan'er gave up her principles. The leader in charge of the man-made river project was her father. Of course, she couldn't let a scumbag lead by a scumbag construction group get the project through despicable means. Then, her father would have to bear the burden of negligence and be despised by the people for the rest of his life. Even Su Yun had brought the Tang's group to Hudong City in order to bring a good project to Hudong City. As a civil servant, Qin Wan'er naturally had the obligation to protect this project that could bring benefits to the people. Even if this kind of protection made her more or less fall into a spiral of negligence, she couldn't care less. Who cares? Who asked these bastards to look so hateful? After the baptism of violence, Fan Tianlong was completely humiliated in Hudong City. This would be the biggest stain in his life. His dignity had been completely trampled on by Su Yun in front of hundreds of his subordinates. This was even more humiliating than being punched. Before the police arrived, the 3 tigers of Southern City called out and all of them turned into birds and animals. In the blink of an eye, they disappeared without a trace. The men who had been beaten twice a day and hadn't eaten anything in the police station were even more miserable. You better King remember this. I'll burn down your hotel one day. When Fan Tianlong was taken away by the police, he glared viciously at Su Yun. He did not shy away from threatening Su Yun. "Don't worry, it's not that easy to lock me up. As long as I come out, you just have to wait for me." Su Yun didn't care about Fan Tianlong's threat. He knew that the underworld bosses in small cities like Hudong or Yijiang usually had some underworld figures backing them up. They were able to do whatever they wanted because when there was a bigger conflict, they would have the support of the underworld's real fierce people. However, Su Yun, who had even offended Green Ghost, would be afraid of anyone. If Fan Tianlong didn't repent and really dared to take revenge on him or cause trouble for Tangjiu, then Su Yun would let him have a taste of hell. After Fan Tianlong was taken away, everything in the Medicinal Cuisine Hotel returned to normal. Guogua was still the naughty child who would ask questions like, "Dad, who are you sleeping with today?" And Su Yun was still the helpless godfather who was petrified by her. In a nameless sea area in Southeast Asia, Green Ghost, who had gone through a lot of trouble, finally avoided the police all over the country. Now that he was in international waters, he didn't have to worry about encountering the Huaxia Coast Guard who would threaten him to stop. The incident in Suang caused a big mess. Wang Ruping from the judiciary, Tang Huaban from the public security, Chao Nanshan from the underworld, and many people like Zhu Laohe, Shen Guangming, and Zhao Xiang all confessed about Green Ghost's evil deeds. In an instant, it seemed like everyone was pointing the finger at Green Ghost. In the end, the major case of the Lakeside Villa District and the major case of the Qin Club were also blamed on Green Ghost. It was obvious that someone was behind all of this. Otherwise, Su Yun wouldn't have escaped so cleanly, and Green Ghost wouldn't have suffered such a huge injustice. Green Ghost could admit that he was an evil person, but he definitely wouldn't be stupid enough to kill his own people. Although even a fool would know that someone else was behind this, they still blamed it on Green Ghost. Finally, Green Ghost couldn't stay in Suang any longer. The sense of danger everywhere made him know that he had to leave and find more powerful help. He who was wanted everywhere couldn't take a plane or a boat. If he wanted to leave the country, he could only sneak away. After entering international waters, Green Ghost felt like he had regained his freedom, but this feeling quickly disappeared when he saw Lung Chen. Pluto was the god who informed the underworld in ancient Greek mythology. For Lung Chen to be called Pluto by many people in the underground world, there was no doubt that he had supreme power. In the underground world, the strong preyed on the weak. Everything was based on strength, so Lung Chen was high and mighty. He couldn't even be bothered to look at Green Ghost, who was an ant in his eyes. As for Green Ghost's defeat in Suang, Lung Chen wasn't interested at all. The only thing he was interested in was the person he sent. Green Ghost, who explained the situation, waited outside the villa on Pluto Island for 2 days and 2 nights. However, the person who saw him in the end was still not Lung Chun himself. Peng Juanda, who was known as the Ghost Doctor, first said, "Is Jin Xiao really dead?" Green Ghost didn't dare to hide anything, so he explained the whole story clearly. Of course, he didn't say that he left his lair because of a woman. Peng Juanda touched the mustache that he had grown not long ago and shook his head. Green Ghost, the mistake you made is completely unforgivable. Fortunately, Pluto didn't have time to care about you. If you were facing him now, I'm afraid you would be a corpse. Then what should I do? Green Ghost knew Peng Juanda's style. He was a person who didn't smile, so he definitely wouldn't joke with him, especially when it came to his life. Even if I don't say it, you know how much Pluto values Jin Xiao. In the current Yen Gate, there are only 2 people who can use flying knives to perfection. One is Jin Gui, the other is Jin Xiao. Jin Gui is over 60 years old. He's not the young blood that Pluto wants. Peng Juanda spoke slowly, neither hurriedly nor slowly. Although Jin Xiao is not young anymore, he was subjected to the rules of the sect and his body was completely destroyed. Since I was able to successfully transplant his strength and memories into his previous body, I can also transplant him into a young and fit body. This terrifying medical skill was indeed Ghost Dr. Peng Juanda's specialty. Green Ghost felt his hair stand on end when he heard it. Peng Juanda sighed. But it's a pity that Jin Xiao's spirit is dead. You've destroyed one of Pluto's future masters with powerful long-range attacks. So, do you think Pluto will forgive you? Green Ghost was a little panicked. Ghost Doctor, I have to explain this to Pluto. This isn't my fault at all. It's that bastard Su Yin who sneaked into the place where I let Jin Xiao hide. That's why something happened to Jin Xiao. If you want to blame someone, blame Su Yin. Don't blame me at all. Peng Juanda shook his head. Green Ghost, have you forgotten what you said when you became Pluto's disciple? You said that you wouldn't bring any trouble, so Pluto arranged for people to help you take down Suang. He also took a fancy to Suang, which was suitable for Jin Xiao to maintain that useless body. Otherwise, what qualifications do you think you have to be under Pluto's command? With a thump, Green Ghost's heart instantly rose. Now that Jin Xiao is dead and Suang has been lost, you have proven that your strength and leadership are at the same level as trash. Peng Juanda's words were not polite at all. Do you still expect a trash like you to be able to obtain Pluto's affection? Let me give you a piece of advice. Don't appear on Pluto Island again. You can leave. Green Ghost's face had already changed, and bean-sized beads of sweat appeared on his forehead. He knew very well that his actions had provoked Lung Chun. Although it seemed that choosing to leave was the easiest way, he knew very well that if he took half a step out of this island now, he would definitely die. This was because Lung Chun had once told him that the only people who could safely enter and leave his island were his trusted subordinates, and those who were stronger than him. As for the others, if they didn't fit these 2 criteria, if they set foot on Hell King Island, they would either die on the island or die in the sea. There was no third option. Therefore, Green Ghost had a very strong premonition that as long as he took half a step out of this island, what awaited him would be an attack of death. Although he did not know how many experts Pluto had under him, he was very clear that there were definitely experts who could easily take his life. He came here to ask for help, not to die. If he died like this, Green Ghost would be too unwilling. Su Yin, who had nothing, was still living happily. Green Ghost would definitely not allow himself to die like this. Ghost Doctor, I beg you, let Pluto give me another chance. Green Ghost did not forget to plead in despair. Just one chance. I will definitely not make any mistakes in the future. Peng Juanda raised his head and said, in life, who cannot make mistakes? Green Ghost, it's impossible for you to not make any mistakes, so don't waste any more time. Let's go, I'm not such a patient person. Green Ghost suddenly knelt down and hugged Peng Juanda's thigh. Ghost Doctor, I beg you, for the sake of our many years of friendship, I beg you to show me a clear path. Just help me this one time. At this time, Peng Juanda was silent. After a long time, he slowly opened his mouth. All right, if you can make up for your mistakes, then it's the same as fighting for a chance for yourself. If you can bring Jin Guai here, then it'll be considered as making up for your mistakes. If you can't, then even if Pluto wants you to die, you won't be able to live. Give me a month's time. I will definitely think of a way. Green Ghost did not have the time to consider whether this was a difficult task or not. He already couldn't wait to agree. 10 days. You only have 10 days. When Peng Juanda said this, his voice was very cold. I already said I don't have much patience. If you don't scram, then don't blame me for using you as a test subject. Chapter 348. Qin Wan took the 2 rifles left behind and left with the police. Fan Tianlong's vicious crime had a very serious impact on Hudong City. As the chief of the Criminal Investigation Department, Qin Wan was duty-bound to take care of it. With Qin Wan there, Su Yun was relieved. He was afraid that Fan Tianlong wouldn't be able to make 2 phone calls. Even if he had a good relationship with Feng Guoqing couldn't bail him out so blatantly. Besides, Director Chen was a fair and honest person. It would do Fan Tianlong no good to make such a big deal out of it. It's over. Let's go in. It's a little cold at night. Wan Qingshuang said. Guagua, come here. You're wearing so little. What if you catch a cold? Everyone walked back to the hotel. At this time, there was no one else in the banquet hall except for the people from the Tang Corporation. Anyway, everyone had a good meal and drank happily. Since they had just moved around, it didn't matter if they left. After all, they were all brothers of the same family. There was no need to be polite. Xiangzi and the 3 tigers of South City led hundreds of people and left before the police arrived. Today, their brothers had all worked hard. As the big brothers, they couldn't let their brothers work for nothing. Bathing City, one by one, they all went. It didn't cost much to take a bath and have a massage. Even if each of their brothers found a prostitute, the average cost would be less than 200 yuan. The 4 brothers only needed to pay 7,000 to 8,000 yuan each. It was really not much. In order to reassure Su Yun, Chang sent a text message. Su Yun saw the message and knew that they were going to have fun. He was even more relieved. Tang Jiu gave everyone a red packet. Su Yun didn't have to worry about them not having enough money to pay. At this time, LV Winnie came to Su Yun with a wine box. Su Yun was slightly surprised. What's this? Brother Yin, my brother asked me to pass this to you. He said to treat it as payment for President Tang's celebratory banquet today. LV Winnie said. He also asked me to tell them that the brothers in Hudong welcome everyone from the Tang's group. He also asked them to treat Hudong as their own home. If there's anything they can't handle, they can do their best with just a call. Tang Jiu was completely touched when she heard this. She also understood that this was all because of Su Yun. If it wasn't for Su Yun, she would have accomplished nothing today. Su Yun took the wine box and took a look. It was packed with red packets. 147 servings, not one less. LV Winnie said. Brother Sean said that this money is a reward for our hard work from President Tang. If we don't accept it, we're not giving President Tang face. But if they really accepted it, they wouldn't know whether they should come or not in the future if they had to deal with such a small matter. So they decided to use this money as payment for today's celebratory banquet. They said that this is called returning the favor. Tang Jiu didn't know whether to laugh or cry at these people. They actually treated the red packets he gave as payment for the medicinal cuisine hotel. Haha. I don't think this is called returning the favor. This is called keeping the goodies within the family. Su Yun shook his head helplessly. These bastards are playing the good guy. What do you want me to do? Forget it, Sister Shuang. I can't handle this. I'll leave it to you. Huh? Leave it to me? Wan Qingshuang immediately shifted her gaze to Tang Jiu. Tang Jiu quickly shook his head like a rattledrum. Sister Shuang, this money isn't mine anymore. I gave it to the brothers who helped me. Now that they've paid the bill, the only thing I can do is not to pay the bill again. But I definitely won't accept this money. Wan Qingshuang stomped her feet anxiously. Why are you all like this? What am I supposed to do? I don't know what to do. You can't expect me to throw away all the money, right? Mom, Why don't you give the money to me? Guogua stuck out her tongue. I have a way to return it. When everyone heard this, they all looked at Guogua in surprise. A group of adults like them had no way. Guogua was just a 6 or 7-year-old little girl. What could she do? Guogua said seriously. Dad, you can announce that you and Mom are engaged. Then, everyone will come to the wedding banquet. This way, everyone will give the red packets. Then, we'll give them the red packets as a return gift. This way. Are you done? Ruan Qingshuang directly interrupted Guogua. If you're done, then go upstairs and do your homework obediently. Otherwise, I'll let your sister Cho Yun spank your butt. Cho Yun cooperated and walked behind Guogua. Guogua pouted and said with grievance, I'm just joking. Why do you have to treat me like this? I don't have much money. Just buy some school bags or school supplies, and then donate them to the poor children in the mountains in the name of everyone. As soon as she heard this, Ruan Qingshuang's heart softened. Guogua could have such a kind heart at such a young age. It was a supreme comfort for her. Well, let's do as Guogua said. Su Yun smiled and handed the wine box to LV Winnie. Winnie, thank you for your hard work. Take out the money and organize it. Then, call your brother and let him do this. Just say that it's my idea. LV Winnie nodded very happily. She was also proud of Guogua. Compared with Guogua at such a young age, she felt inferior. Although you came up with a good idea, the homework still needs to be done. Ruan Qingshuang said mercilessly. Su Yun, I'll leave the rest to you. I'm going to take Guogua to do her homework. She's getting more and more naughty. If I don't look after her, she won't finish her homework. Relying on her sweet mouth and good relationship with Miss Su, she thinks that it's her own high level. Guogua was innocent. It wasn't that she didn't want to do her homework, but these things were too simple. She was really not interested in doing them. If she was given a binary linear equation now, she might be interested in studying it. But if she was asked to do questions like 3 plus 5 equals 8, she was really speechless. But she didn't want to make Mother Ruan sad, so she obediently followed upstairs. At this time, a group of people from the Tang group led by Tang Yifei and Tang Xiaofeng also came out of the banquet hall. They knew that the matter should be settled, so they came to inquire about the accommodation. How about this? Winnie, get Sister Zhang from the housekeeping department to arrange their accommodation. Su Yun pointed. The reserved rooms should be enough, right? LV Winnie nodded. It's enough. She immediately used the walkie-talkie to inform the housekeeping department. The housekeeping supervisor, Sister Zhang, quickly came to take everyone to see the rooms. According to the arrangement, Tang Jiu had his own room. Tang Yifei and Tang Xiaofeng each had a room. The bodyguard, the driver, and the 3 project managers, a total of 12 men, took up 6 rooms. The secretary, Pan Fei, and the other 3 female project assistants were also divided into 2 rooms. No more, no less. The reserved rooms were just right. And now the hotel had no spare rooms. They were all full. Fortunately, Su Yun was prepared early in the morning. Otherwise, there would be people who would have to sleep on extra beds tonight. Sorry, I'm not used to sharing a room with others. Is there a single room? Tang Xiaofeng suddenly asked after the rooms were allocated. Tang Yifei was stunned. He had thought of this before, but he didn't say it. But now that Tang Xiaofeng said it, he felt embarrassed. Yes, I'm not used to sharing a room with others. Not to mention such a treacherous person. Because Tang Xiaofeng's idea of borrowing Tang Yifei's car to let him go back was exposed by Tang Yifei. Tang Yifei was now very unhappy with Tang Xiaofeng. If he drove back today, he was afraid that he would be intercepted by those troublemakers halfway. The consequences would be disastrous. Tang Yifei, what do you mean? Who's the treacherous person? Tang Xiaofeng glared. Forget it, forget it. I won't argue with you. It's best if we don't see each other. Tang Yifei spat. Third brother, I find that you're becoming more and more of a coward. I'd rather die than sleep in the same room with you. Sorry, there's really no other room. Sister Zhang of the housekeeping department was in trouble. She knew that it was too late to regret now. She knew that there would be another room reserved. Su Yun frowned. These 2 people were really asking for a beating. It was good enough to have a place to stay, but they were still quarreling with him. Second brother, you've never given in to your younger brother since you were young. Today you give in to me. I'll sleep here. You can do whatever you want. Don't you like to go to the bar to pick up girls? Go go go. After you pick up a girl, you can go to another hotel to get a room. Then, everyone will be happy. Tang Xiaofeng took the initiative. Tang Yifei glared. Stop dreaming, third brother. I'm your brother. You can't do anything if you don't recognize me. You can sleep wherever you want today. Don't King enter my room. Su Yan really couldn't hold back his anger. He really wanted to slap them and tell them to get out of here and go to whichever hotel they wanted. Perhaps Tang Jiu didn't want to see them embarrass themselves in front of outsiders. He snorted heavily. My room is not needed. Whoever wants to go can go. But let me tell you, this is Hudong, not Ji Bei. None of you are allowed to go out at night. If you get into trouble, deal with it yourselves. Don't embarrass the Tang family. After being scolded by Tang Jiu, the two didn't say anything. At least the problem of accommodation was solved. It didn't matter as long as they had a private space. Tang Yifei and Tang Xiaofeng's problems were solved, but Tang Jiu's problem came. Where was he going to sleep? After solving the problem, Tang Jiu strode away. Su Yan followed him out of the crowd. How about this? You sleep in my room. I'll sleep on the sofa. It's not like we haven't slept on the same bed before. Do you have to sleep on the sofa? Tang Jiu was very straightforward. When she said this, she didn't dare to look at Su Yan directly. It wasn't clear whether it was because she was afraid of blushing or because she was afraid of being out of breath. Chapter 349. Su Yan was relieved that Tang Jiu was so open about it. At least she didn't treat him as an outsider. If she didn't even dare to joke around with her friends, then something must have happened. Su Yan brought Tang Jiu to his room upstairs. Sit anywhere you like. You're the real boss of this hotel. You're the one paying for it. You can stay wherever you like. I like this room. Tang Jiu was concise and didn't hesitate at all. If you say I can stay wherever I like, then I'll stay in this room every time I come here, okay? Since the artificial river project had fallen into the hands of the Tang Group, as Tang Jiu's first construction project after taking over the company, she had to come to Hudong City to inspect it. Did Tang Jiu mean that she would sleep with him every time she came? Do all CEOs like to do this? Hiding a mistress in a hotel in another city? Is this called keeping a mistress or cohabiting? Su Yan said shyly. It makes me feel embarrassed. You? What kind of mistress is that? Tang Jiu was speechless at Su Yan's disgusting expression. I give up. Can you be any more narcissistic? Even if I'm hiding a mistress, I'm hiding a pretty boy. You're not even half as pretty as a pretty boy. Su Yan snorted. What era is this? Pretty boys are no longer popular. I'm a charming man. Am I any worse than a pretty boy? Tang Jiu rolled her eyes. Then name a price. Don't. I'm selling my skills, not my body. Su Yan grinned. It was so obvious that he wouldn't fall for it. With someone like you, even if you sell your body, how many people are blind? Who would buy you? Tang Jiu snorted. Don't be so smug. Don't be so self-righteous in front of me. Look at yourself in the mirror when you're free. You'll be laughed at if word gets out. Su Yan calmed down. Mr. Tang, you have a sharp tongue. I admit defeat. Su Yan became serious. You have to wake up early tomorrow to visit Uncle Tang, so you should rest early today. I just changed the bedsheets in my room, so you can sleep peacefully. Tang Jiu heard Su Yan's hidden meaning. What about you? Aren't you going to rest? Where are you going? Today, I've caused so much trouble for Fan Tianlong. That guy won't let it go. Who knows, they might come for revenge tonight, so I'd better be more alert. Su Yan smiled. I don't want to be taken advantage of, so I'm going downstairs. Tang Jiu didn't say anything. Just as Su Yan was about to turn and leave, she suddenly stepped forward and hugged Su Yan from behind. Su Yan was stunned. However, he was a man after all. His back was instantly squeezed by two elastic and gentle breasts. Su Yan almost couldn't control himself. Tang Jiu, listen to me. Don't talk. Tang Jiu interrupted him. She hugged Su Yan and felt the endless sense of security that Su Yan gave her. When Su Yin wasn't in Jibei City, Tang Jiu was always accompanied by helplessness and difficulties. The layers of pressure made it difficult for her to breathe. Although Tang Jiu had already proven that she could bear the pressure and difficulties by herself after solving problems time and time again, she was still just a 22-year-old girl next door. What did other girls her age experience? Even the girls from families that weren't as well off as the Tang family were enjoying their graduation trip, or getting into passionate relationships when they graduated from university. Even if they didn't have the means to travel or fall in love, they could still find a job that they liked and enjoy the sunshine every day. However, Tang Jiu had to suddenly become the pillar of the Tang group. Many people were envious of her, jealous of her, and even hated her for having such a family and such opportunities. They complained that God was unfair. How could a girl like Tang Jiu, who had just graduated from university, obtain such an important position as the CEO of the Tang group? They felt that Tang Jiu suddenly had everything after graduating. She had fame, status, money, light, taste, and style. Everyone thought that she suddenly had everything. However, only Tang Jiu understood that she didn't just have fame, status, and money. She also didn't just have light, taste, and style. At the same time, she also had a huge invisible pressure. She understood that the business world was like a battlefield. When she had everything, she had already been pushed into a smokeless battlefield. She had to scheme and scheme. If she wasn't careful, she could cause the Tang group to fall into eternal damnation. She couldn't even trust her own uncles and cousins. Who could understand this feeling? Many people knew that although Tang Jiu was richer than any of them, she wasn't as happy as any of them. She once had her own dream. After graduation, she wanted to travel the world for 80 days with her best friend. She believed that when she traveled the entire world, she would find her own destiny and meet a Prince Charming who shared the same feelings as her. Tang Jiu's fairy tale world shattered on the day she graduated. From that day onwards, she knew that she would have to shoulder the heavy responsibility of the Tang group. If she couldn't, her father's efforts would be completely ruined by her own people. On that day, Tang Jiu began to understand that she might not even be able to make her own decisions about her marriage, let alone Prince Charming. She might even marry a man who did not even have any feelings for her, and then spend the rest of her life muddling along in her career. Fortunately, she met Su Yin. Tang Jiu had always felt that Su Yin was the man who changed her destiny. However, she slowly realized that Su Yin didn't just change her life. Tang Jiu and Guogua were as close as sisters. It might be a kind of fate. The two of them didn't like each other in the beginning. Now they talked about everything. It was a kind of fate. She learned a lot about Su Yin and their stories from Guogua. Su Yin changed the fate of Guogua, Ruan Qingshuang, Chou Yun, Qin Waner's fate, and even Su Yun's appearance changed everyone around him. Chang, the three tigers of Nansheng, etc. It wasn't that Tang Jiu wasn't confident. Tang Jiu knew that she wasn't the most outstanding woman among these people. Tang Jiu only knew Ruan Qingshuang and the others. What about the others that she didn't know? Moreover, Tang Jiu knew one more thing than the others. That was the relationship between Sky Entertainment Group's Sua Meiyan and Su Yun. Although Tang Jiu couldn't guess their relationship, Tang Jiu knew that Sua Meiyan's Zhu Yeqing hated men. She hated women who were younger and prettier than her. Therefore, it was impossible for Zhu Yeqing to help her because of Su Yun. I just want to hug you like this for a while. Tang Jiu spoke softly. Even though there were so many unknown factors, she still couldn't control her feelings. Every night, she would still miss Su Yun. She couldn't even sleep when she thought about him. Some things couldn't be easily controlled once they came. For example, feelings. No one could explain them clearly. Su Yun didn't have the heart to interrupt Tang Jiu. He knew that she must be exhausted. After all, a girl had to bear too much. Su Yun couldn't imagine how much pain Tang Jiu must have felt when the Tang Corporation's bids kept failing. Even though it was so painful, Tang Jiu still insisted on dealing with it herself. Just like Tang Zhengtian said. As long as Tang Jiu agreed to shoulder the rise and fall of the Tang Corporation, she would never say a word of suffering in front of her father. She would rather bear everything herself than let him worry about her. This was also why Su Yun helped Tang Jiu get the Hudong City project. He knew what Tang Jiu needed. Tangjio needed help, confidence, and a sense of security. Tangjio stood quietly behind Su Yin. She hugged Su Yin without saying a word. It was as if she could absorb the essence of Su Yin's body to restore her vitality. She greedily enjoyed this feeling. If only I could continue like this. Finally, Tangjio spoke. However, she still didn't intend to let go. Then I'll be strangled to death by you. Su Yin smiled helplessly. Don't tell me you're going to spend the night like this. I'll definitely be able to persevere. Please don't trick me. Just as the two were about to talk, the door was pushed open after a light knock. Ruan Qingshuang walked in with a bowl of bird's nest porridge. It was quite awkward. Ruan Qingshuang didn't realize that when she knocked on Su Yin's door before, Su Yin would let her in directly. Therefore, Ruan Qingshuang developed the habit of knocking on Su Yin's door before opening it. This time, she didn't expect to see such a scene when the door opened. For a moment, Ruan Qingshuang didn't know what to do. Tangjio's first reaction was to let go of Su Yin. She hurriedly tidied up her clothes. This action would probably cause a misunderstanding. However, in her panic, Tangjio didn't know where to put her hands. Su Yin awkwardly stood in the room. What could he say? What should he say? He didn't know if he should open his mouth or just stand there obediently and let Ruan Qingshuang pour the bird's nest porridge over his face. Finally, Ruan Qingshuang was the first to speak. She smiled faintly. I thought it was just Su Yin, so I only prepared one portion. Su Yin, let Tangjio drink it. Seeing the smile on Ruan Qingshuang's face, Tangjio felt an inexplicable sense of guilt. This feeling made her feel incredulous. She didn't do anything wrong to Ruan Qingshuang. Then you guys continue. I'll leave first. Ruan Qingshuang finished speaking and put the bird's nest porridge on the counter in the hall. Then she quickly turned and left. This time, Su Yin was completely dumbfounded. Tangjio also looked at Su Yin, not knowing what to do. Chapter 350. Tangjio was like a child who had done something wrong. She stood there, not knowing what to do. If she could, she wanted to say sorry, but she didn't know who to say sorry to. Was it Su Yin? Or was it Ruan Qingshuang? Although Su Yin chased after her, Ruan Qingshuang had already turned around and ran into her room. Seeing the door close, Su Yin stood at the door. He didn't know what to say even if he opened the door and went in. Whether he explained or not, he had already inadvertently hurt the person he didn't want to hurt. But this really wasn't his fault. Back then, when he was in the Dragon's Fury Special Forces, Su Yin and his group of brothers often complained that they couldn't see a woman for 10 days to half a month. Now that there were peach blossoms around him, Su Yin felt that his head was going to explode. Sometimes he also wanted to have no scruples and do whatever he wanted to do, but in the end he still couldn't do it. Su Yin stood at the door for a full 5 minutes. Guogua suddenly opened the door and walked out. When she saw Su Yin standing at the door in a daze, Guogua shook her head helplessly. Her reaction made Su Yin even more at a loss. Guogua, how's mom? Su Yin knew that this kind of thing couldn't be explained to a child, but at this time, if he didn't ask Guogua, who else could he ask? Fortunately, this little demon was more mature in terms of men and women than a 7-year-old youth. Guogua shrugged and made an extremely helpless expression. Dad, what do you want me to say about you? If you want to be affectionate with sister little Jio, you should find a place where there is no one around. Why can't you bear the loneliness? I really don't know what to say to you. Su Yin had no idea how to answer Guogua's question. Did this little brat know what tenderness was? What was this? Guogua, I'm telling you, there's nothing going on between me and Tangjio. She's just stressed out, so just now. Dad, you don't have to explain to me. You're a man. I understand. Su Yin was completely defeated by Guogua's serious look. I understand. Dad, you're so outstanding. It's not a big deal to win Sister Tangjio's heart. I'm serious. Hurry up and help Dad explain. Other than being speechless, Su Yin was also speechless. Guogua put her hands behind her back. Cough, Dad, in my impression, you're not a man who avoids responsibility. It's better for you to explain this kind of thing yourself. As for me, I won't be a third wheel for you. I've already finished my homework. Bye, I'm going to chat with Sister Tangjio. No matter what, Guogua at least made a choice. She could chat with Tangjio. At least Su Yin was relieved. In the end, Su Yin mustered up his courage and walked into RuanQingshuang's room. At this time, Ruan Qingshuang was already lying on the bed. When she saw Su Yin come in, she was somewhat surprised. This was because she had clearly asked Guogua to convey her message to Su Yin that she was fine, and that he shouldn't think too much. She was just tired. But now Su Yin still came in. Ruan Qingshuang really didn't understand whether Guogua had conveyed what she wanted. Su Yin felt that there was a need to explain, so he still explained. Sister Shuang, what happened just now was actually... I'm fine really. Although Ruan Qingshuang had a smile on her face, it was still somewhat forced. I might be feeling a little unwell, so don't mind it. If you don't have anything else to say, you can leave. Tangjio might have a lot to tell you. If Ruan Qingshuang hadn't said that she was feeling a little unwell, Su Yin really wouldn't have noticed that there was something wrong with her face. At this time, Su Yin couldn't care less. He directly sat by the bed. Under Ruan Qingshuang's surprised gaze, he touched her forehead with the back of his hand. Then he put his hand on his forehead to feel his own temperature. Sister Shuang, do you have a fever? Su Yin's eyebrows quickly furrowed. He immediately found a thermometer in the drawer. Hurry up and take my temperature. Ruan Qingshuang was stunned for a moment. She shook her head and said, No, I'm fine. I'm just a little tired, not sick. There's no need to take my temperature. It's too troublesome. Do you want to do it yourself, or do you want me to help you? Su Yin held the thermometer. This was an ordinary thermometer with a glass mercury column. It had to be held under the armpit for 3 minutes to get the correct temperature feedback. Although it couldn't be compared to the high-tech electronic thermometers, the feedback was very accurate. Seeing that Su Yin was determined to do this, Ruan Qingshuang could only reluctantly sit up. She took the thermometer from Su Yin's hand and put it under her armpit. Su Yin, I'm really fine. You can go do your thing. Su Yin had no intention of leaving. I'll check the temperature later. If it's not burning, I'll leave. Ruan Qingshuang had no choice but to give up on persuading Su Yin. To be honest, she was a little selfish at this time. Su Yin being by her side made her feel very warm. Even when she saw the scene of Tangjio hugging Su Yin, sometimes Ruan Qingshuang thought about it. She felt that Su Yin had given her enough. She really felt that she didn't deserve Su Yin. How many outstanding girls were there by Su Yin's side? Just how many did she know? Let's talk about Tangjio first. Although Tangjio didn't express his feelings for Su Yin, anyone with a discerning eye could see that Tangjio's dependence on Su Yin was stronger than anyone else's. Otherwise, she wouldn't have done that kind of thing just now. Tangjio was a noble lady. Whether it was her personal condition or her family's condition, she was one of the best in the whole of Jiangbei province. As for Qin Wan, although she didn't say anything and always argued with Su Yin, when Su Yin wasn't in Hudong, Qin Wan always talked about him. Even when she picked up a piece of braised hairtail for dinner, she would say things like, Su Yin will definitely like this dish. She was stubborn sometimes, but she also had the most special feelings for Su Yin. There was also Chou Yun. Although Guogua also mentioned that Chou Yun said that she would never marry, Ruan Qingshuang dared to say that Su Yin must be the man who made Chou Yun want to take back her words. There was no woman who didn't want to marry. Chou Yun said that before because she had never met a man who could really move her. This was because before Ruan Qingshuang met Su Yin, she had also thought of never marrying for the rest of her life. This was because none of the men she had met were as pure as Su Yin. Although Ruan Qingshuang knew that sometimes Su Yin couldn't get rid of the nature of a man, that was his nature. Su Yin could control his nature very well every time. No man could resist his innocence. Okay, time's up. Su Yin suddenly said, interrupting Ruan Qingshuang's thoughts. Only then did Ruan Qingshuang realize that she had been staring at Su Yin. Her face instantly flushed red, and then she obediently took out the thermometer and handed it to Su Yin. Su Yin took the thermometer, which still had Ruan Qingshuang's body temperature and fragrance, and glanced at it under the light. He muttered to himself, 37. 9 degrees. Phew. Ruan Qingshuang let out a sigh of relief. It's fine. It's not 38 degrees yet. Okay, I'm fine. You can go. You call this fine? Sister Shuang, do you know the normal temperature of a human body? Su Yin seemed a little angry. He was angry because Ruan Qingxuang was such an adult, but she didn't know how to take care of herself. She didn't pay attention to rest. She must have gotten sick because she worried too much and didn't rest well. 36 to 37 degrees is normal. What's your temperature? Although Su Yun said it angrily, Ruan Qingxuang was very happy. This was a kind of disguised concern. If Su Yun didn't care about her, why would he be angry with her? Okay, I know I was wrong, okay? Ruan Qingxuang whispered with a smile. Well, it's not 38 degrees yet. It's only a moderate fever after 38 degrees. I'm fine now. Then. Don't be angry. Although Ruan Qingxuang's attitude of admitting her mistake was very timely, she was clearly happy. This was the first man who was worried about her sick, and it was Su Yun, so Ruan Qingxuang's emotional excitement was understandable. You can still laugh. Su Yun's head was big. What's the difference between 37.9 degrees and 38 degrees? No wonder I saw that you didn't look very good recently. You must have had a low fever for a few days, right? Su Yun suddenly realized a problem. Since they came back from Suang, Ruan Qingxuang's face seemed to be a little strange, but he didn't have time to care about it. On the night when Guogua prepared a candlelight dinner for them, Ruan Qingxuang coughed slightly several times. Su Yun originally planned to let Ruan Qingxuang take her temperature that day, but Qin Weiner drank too much and caused that trouble. Then he fell into a coma for 2 days. When he woke up, he focused all his attention on the bidding of the Tang group. He didn't have time to care about Ruan Qingxuang at all. Ruan Qingxuang didn't say anything. She kept playing with her thumb. On the day she came back from Suang, she felt a little uncomfortable, but she immediately took the medicine. However, after Su Yun fell into a coma, she couldn't care about anything. She forgot to take the medicine and didn't sleep well. Naturally, it caused her body to have a low fever. Su Yun, who suddenly understood, was very annoyed. Ruan Qingxuang must have been frightened in Suang and didn't rest well. It was all his fault that he didn't handle it well. Now Ruan Qingxuang was sick, it was all because of him. Sister Shuang, I'm sorry. Su Yun was annoyed that he often neglected the people around him. In fact, compared to others, the care he gave to Ruan Qingxuang was really insignificant. Su Yun made a mistake that everyone would make, which was that he often neglected the care for the people around him. He was always worried about this and that, but he didn't see that Ruan Qingxuang, who was silently caring and caring for him, was unknowingly sick. Chapter 351. Su Yun poured a cup of hot water, found the medicine for cold and fever, and gave it to Ruan Qingxuang. No matter what Ruan Qingxuang said, he refused to leave. He insisted on staying by the bed, saying that he would only leave when she fell asleep. Ruan Qingxuang couldn't argue with him, so she just let him be. Ruan Qingxuang had never felt the feeling of being protected. Thinking about the past, and then thinking about the first time she left her hometown and came to this strange city, she couldn't sleep every night. She worried too much and had too many scruples. Since she had Guogua, she began to get used to being protected. Being able to watch Guogua sleep every day made her feel very happy, but she had never felt the feeling of being protected. For a while, she really couldn't get used to it and couldn't sleep. Sister Shuang, can you sleep with your eyes open? Su Yun smiled helplessly and said, Do you think you are Zhang Fei? Ruan Qingxuang looked at Su Yun and couldn't help but laugh. Then, she turned her head away embarrassedly. It's the first time someone watches me sleep. I feel very uncomfortable, so I can't sleep. Su Yun joked, Sister Shuang, are you afraid that I will do something bad to you after you fall asleep? Well, if you are afraid, you can tie my hands up first before you sleep. I don't mind. Ruan Qingxuang rolled her eyes at Su Yun. If you want to do something bad, do you think I can tie you up? Also, do you need to wait for me to fall asleep? Just knock me out, and everything will be solved. Then why don't we give it a try? Su Yun rubbed his palms together, looking eager to give it a try. Ruan Qingxuang was really scared by him, but she quickly understood that Su Yun wasn't that kind of person at all. So, Ruan Qingxuang said something that even she herself found quite shocking. Let's try. Come on, let's see what you can do. Suyin didn't expect Ruan Qingshuang to have this kind of reaction. He didn't know what to do next. He just raised his hands like a big gray wolf, suddenly not knowing whether to eat the fat sheep in front of him or not. Okay, I won't joke with you anymore. I want to sleep. Fortunately, Ruan Qingshuang couldn't take her own joke first. She turned over and quickly closed her eyes, afraid that if she looked at Suyin for a while longer, the two would really turn the awkwardness into something. After all, they were all adults. It was better not to joke about this kind of thing in the future. Suyin resentfully continued to stay by the bed. In that moment, he really did want to pounce. This was the first time he almost couldn't hold it in after so many tests of his willpower. Although it was only in words, it had to be said that Suyin was really moved. If Ruan Qingshuang's eyes looked at him for more than 5 seconds, he would definitely be able to throw away his so-called rationality. Phew. With this result, should Suyin say that he was lucky or unlucky? When he was hungry, streaky meat suddenly floated by. Just as he was about to take a bite, the streaky meat told him that he couldn't eat it tonight. Compared to the several times in the past when other streaky meat was sent to his mouth for a bite, Suyin regretted it. It seemed that this first time he had to break the shackles, otherwise, he would only be able to practice the virgin martial arts for the rest of his life. Guogua and Tangjio were chatting in Suyin's room. As Guogua ate the bird's nest porridge that Ruan Qingshuang made for Suyin, she vividly described how they were in danger in Suang, and how Suyin suddenly appeared to save them. She described it as if it was an American superhero movie. Sister Guogua, do you like my father very, very much? Guogua asked seriously and playfully. Tell me the truth. Tangjio glanced at Guogua and finally shrugged. She didn't give any answer. She really couldn't tell the truth. Guogua said seriously. Tell me, what's there to be embarrassed about? We're all women, and you're my sworn sister. What's there to be embarrassed about? Tangjio was a little doubtful about whether it was right for her to become sworn brothers with Guogua. After all, how old was Guogua? It was too exaggerated to talk to her about the topic of bosom friends. Tangjio remembered that she was already 17 or 18 years old when she started to understand these things. So what did Guogua know at her age? Forget it, I won't make things difficult for you. Guogua sighed. Actually, I already knew that my father was destined to be in love. So I don't find it strange that you like him, Sister Xiaojiao. If it weren't for my young age, I would definitely fall in love with my father. Tangjio was dumbfounded when he heard this. My goodness, this little girl is a little too precocious, isn't she? Guogua continued. Of course, Guogua also loves my father now, but it's not the kind of love you have for him. If he were a little older, it would be hard to say. So I really understand how you feel, Sister Xiaojiao. Tangjio didn't know whether to laugh or cry. What do you understand? Okay, go to sleep. Sleep with Sister Xiaojiao today. Don't you still have to go to school tomorrow? If you don't sleep, you won't be able to concentrate in class tomorrow. Please, we haven't seen each other for a long time. Can't we have some bosom friends to talk about at night? Guogua was especially disappointed. Sister Xiaojiao, why are you like my mother? Sai, you always treat me like a child. Tangjio was speechless. Aren't you a child? Children nowadays are really too precocious. God, why did Tangjio feel like she had lived for so many years in vain? Guogua rolled her eyes. Forget it. I won't say so much to you. You won't understand even if I say it. I won't understand? Tangjio finally understood the nature of Guogua, this little demon. She really admired how Ruan Qingshuang was able to control this little demon. If it were her, she definitely believed that Guogua would sell her out. It was a silent night. Suyin stayed by Ruan Qingshuang's bedside until she fell asleep. He sat quietly by the bedside. It wasn't until the next day's sunlight shone on his face through the gaps in the curtains that Suyin realized it was already morning. Ruan Qingshuang's biological clock was fixed. She opened her eyes at 6:15 sharp. When she saw that Suyin was still sitting by the bed, she was so surprised that she couldn't close her mouth. Did you not sleep at all last night? I slept too much 2 days ago. I really couldn't sleep at night. Suyin smiled and said, Sister Shuang, don't worry about me. I actually slept quite well. Ruan Qingshuang really didn't believe it. How could he sleep well sitting down? No one would believe it. You're not feeling well. Don't wake up so early. If there's anything, just tell me to do it. Su Yun. Today, don't make breakfast for Guogua alone. After all, Tang Jiu and the others are still here. Let Guogua eat the hotel's breakfast buffet. Ruan Qingshuang thought about it and shook her head. What if Guogua doesn't like it? Besides, I promised her yesterday that I would make her a Hawaiian super bagel this morning. Su Yun signaled that she could rest assured. I know that the Hawaiian super bagel you're talking about is a bagel bread with various fruits, right? How do you know? Ruan Qingshuang was surprised. This seemed to be a breakfast invented by Guogua. Su Yun shrugged. Because I stayed in Hawaii for a while. I couldn't believe that the people there only ate fruits for breakfast. The only pasta there was a bagel. To put it bluntly, it was a bagel bread. Don't worry. Leave it to me. I'll make her eat comfortably. When Su Yun walked out of Ruan Qingshuang's room, Cho Yun also walked out of her room. At first, she was a little confused when she saw Su Yun come out of Ruan Qingshuang's room. But later she calmed down and asked, Guogua hasn't woken up yet? Sister Shuang had a fever last night. Guogua didn't sleep in this room. Didn't she look for you? Su Yun was also puzzled. He always thought that Guogua would sleep with Cho Yun at night. Cho Yun's face suddenly became nervous, but she quickly followed Su Yun's gaze and looked at Su Yun's room. Then Cho Yun understood something. Could it be that she and Tang Jiu? Su Yun nodded. It must be. Anyway, there were only a few of them upstairs. Qin Wan'er did not come back last night. It was probably because Fan Tianlong's matter had caused a lot of trouble for the police. Of course, Officer Qin, who loved her job and was dedicated to her job, would work overtime. Guogua definitely wouldn't sneak into Qin Wan'er's room to sleep alone. Unless she was with Tang Jiu, there was no other possibility. Under Su Yun's signal, Cho Yun gently knocked on the door, but after a few times, there was no response. At this time, Cho Yun was a little panicked. She opened the door with a universal card and found that Guogua was sleeping alone on the bed. When she saw Cho Yun and Su Yun come in, Guogua knew that it was time to get up, eat and prepare to go to school, so her expression was very painful. Su Yun saw a note on the tea table. It was left by Tang Jiu. Just an hour ago, Tang Jiu quietly got up and left. Her movements were very light, so she didn't disturb the others at all. However, she used the phone at the front desk to call the rooms of those people. She didn't want to bother Su Yun and Ruan Qingshuang, so she asked her people to go back to Jibei directly. Of course, Tang Jiu didn't go back to Jibei directly. Instead, she went to Tang Jingtian's place. She left a note to explain everything to Su Yun, so that Su Yun wouldn't worry about her. After Su Yun finished reading the note, he put it away. Since she wanted to leave, he couldn't make her stay. Su Yun knew Tang Jiu's personality very well. She would do what she wanted to do, so there was no point in talking to her. Tang Jingtian probably missed her a lot, so it would be good for the father and daughter to have a heart-to-heart talk. After all, the project would be carried out in Hudong in the next 24 months, so Tang Jiu would definitely visit Hudong often. Su Yun felt that it would be good to get used to her sudden visits as soon as possible. Where's Mom? Guogua was still in a daze and didn't know what had happened. Where's Sister Xiaojiu? Mom is sick. Her body is a little hot, so Dad will make you Hawaiian super bagels today, okay? Su Yun explained as he coaxed Guogua to get up. Guogua, who was still in a daze, suddenly became alert. However, the main point she heard wasn't that her mother was sick. Dad, how do you know that Mom is hot? Did you touch her? Chapter 352. After knowing that Ruan Qingshuang was sick, Guogua did not ask to eat the Hawaiian super bagel. She asked Su Yun to leave her alone and take care of her mother quickly. She pretended to be serious and patted Su Yun on the shoulder, telling Su Yun that this was the time when women needed the most care. Cho Yun was in a cold sweat. He hurriedly urged her to clean herself up and took her downstairs to eat the buffet. As for Guogua going to school, Su Yun did not need to worry about it. At this time, Ruan Qingshuang could no longer lie in bed. Although she had a low fever these days, she was much better after resting last night. If she was allowed to rest in bed like a patient, it would cause her to have a bigger problem. Su-yin did not force Ruan Qingshuang to sleep. He also accompanied Ruan Qingshuang downstairs to eat. The waiters on the morning shift were surprised. What happened today? In the past, Madame Ruan would personally make breakfast for them and the little princess. Today, everyone came to eat the breakfast buffet. When they were only halfway through the meal, Qin Weiner dragged her tired body to the hotel. Every time she came back after staying up all night, she would eat a few mouthfuls of rice and then go upstairs to sleep because she might have to go to work in the afternoon. This time, she did not expect to meet Ruan Qingshuang and Su-yin eating the breakfast buffet in her hotel. The food was immediately served and brought to the table for the two of them to eat. Obviously, Qin Weiner's face was full of disappointment, as if she had encountered something annoying. Seeing her mental state, Ruan Qingshuang quickly peeled a boiled egg for her and said, "Eat some porridge first. Don't choke. Weiner, I told you not to stay up late. It's too harmful to your body. You see, every time you stay up late, your mental state is so bad." "What's wrong? Was it difficult to deal with Fan Tianlong yesterday?" Su-yin saw through Qin Weiner's thoughts. When Qin Weiner heard this, she put the egg in the bowl of porridge in front of her and took a deep breath. Then she let it out in a depressed manner. Clearly, Su-yin's words had directly hit her where she was most troubled. Su-yin comforted her. "It's not a big deal. When you took them away yesterday, I thought about it. Since Fan Tianlong could get more than 90 of his men out of the police station in 2 or 3 hours, he must have strong connections in Hudong City." Hearing this, Qin Weiner clenched her fists. The society full of so-called connections made her angry. Fan Tianlong seemed to prove a very Zen saying. Of course, this saying only applied to Huaxia. If there is a connection, there is no connection. "And when the bidding ended yesterday afternoon, I met your father. He said that everyone had received Feng Guoqing's instructions at that time. All of them were lying through their teeth. They all said that Glory Construction Group was more suitable for this project than Tang's group in all aspects. They all said that Glory Construction Group's project plan was more perfect." Su-yin smiled slightly. To make these people admit that they have a pair of dog eyes, money alone can't do that. Obviously, Fan Tianlong used his relationship with Feng Guoqing. Feng Guoqing was the municipal party secretary. He was the most powerful person in Hudong City. From the mayor to the secretary of a village, he was regarded as a god. With Feng Guoqing's help, Fan Tianlong naturally had a smooth journey. But his journey was too smooth, so in the end his joy turned to sorrow. But at the most critical moment last night, he still called Feng Guoqing. Qin Weiner couldn't believe that Feng Guoqing had called their chief Chen Wei so blatantly and directly reprimanded him to release the people. At that time, Chen Wei refused without even thinking about it. Then he told Feng Guoqing about it in detail. In the end, Feng Guoqing didn't listen at all. He just blew his beard and glared at him, saying that if he wanted them to let him go, they had to let him go. At that time, Chief Chen was very angry and directly hung up on Feng Guoqing. He also didn't do as Feng Guoqing said. He asked Qin Weiner about the details and knew that this group of people wanted to use illegal means to gain illegal profits in Hudong City. They also had evidence of illegal possession of firearms, which could prove that the shooting incident a week ago was related to them. Because of this, Chen Wei was even angrier. He didn't expect Feng Guoqing to go so far. If the shooting incident was really related to these people, it meant that Feng Guoqing was guilty of the crime of protecting these evil forces. But Feng Guoqing was the municipal party secretary of Hudong City. In Hudong City, his words were the imperial edict. Knowing that Chen Wei hung up the phone, Feng Guoqing personally drove there. Not only did he let Fan Tianlong and his group go, but he also asked them not to tell anyone what had happened that day. If anyone talked nonsense, he would teach them a lesson. Chen Wei was full of resentment and had nowhere to vent it. He had to bow his head in the official's career. Many times, power could overwhelm everything. Even if you were upright and plain-spoken, sometimes you would have to bow your head because your strength was not enough to fight and compete with the other party. Knowing that Chief Chen was sullen, Qin Weiner didn't care about her status. She stood up on the spot and pointed at Feng Guoqing without mercy. She said that this was called practicing favoritism, breaking the law knowingly, embezzling, and neglecting his duty. After a series of harsh words were thrown at Feng Guoqing was angry. Of course, he didn't want to be criticized by a little girl like Qin Weiner. At that time, Secretary Qi, who was by Feng Guoqing's side, told Feng Guoqing something that shocked him. Qin Weiner was Qin Zhongming's daughter. At that time, Feng Guoqing almost went crazy. No wonder he felt that this beautiful girl was not pleasing to the eye. It turned out that this girl was actually Qin Zhongming's daughter. Feng Guoqing's first reaction was to scold Secretary Qi for not telling him earlier. Qin Zhongming had made him suffer in the project, and now his daughter wanted to make things difficult for him. Feng Guoqing was furious. He wanted them to know that if they wanted to be part of Hudong City's government, they would have to follow his surname. The father and daughter of the Qin family wouldn't be able to make a comeback in his territory. At that time, Qin Zhongming gave the order to let them go, and no one could stop him. After all, he was the most powerful person in Hudong City. That night, the people in the police station were very angry. The upright people, led by Chen Wei, were all depressed. They didn't have a better way to solve the problem, and they didn't have any evidence to report Feng Guoqing for neglecting his duty and using his power to interfere with their business. If they wanted someone to stand up and testify, they would need a lot of people. However, other than Qin Weiner, Chen Wei was the only one who dared to stand up. Obviously, such testimony was meaningless. Other people might even accuse them because of Feng Guoqing's authority. In that case, not only would Qin Weiner and Chen Wei's testimony be invalid, but they might also be accused of framing Feng Guoqing. That was why it gave them a headache. During that time, Feng Guoqing didn't stay idle. He quickly found out some things about Qin Weiner. When he found out that Qin Weiner was staying at the Medicinal Cuisine Hotel, he smiled like a villain. There was no one in Hudong who did not know Ruan Qingshuang's name. She was the proprietress of Hudong City's Medicinal Cuisine Hotel. She was also the boss of Hudong City's underworld. There was no doubt about that. Although Ruan Qingshuang had not done anything illegal, as long as she could control the gangsters in Hudong City, she would be the boss. If she was the boss, then Qin Weiner should draw a line with her. Feng Guoqing took advantage of this and made a countercharge against Qin Weiner. He said that as a national police officer, she actually mingled with a big sister of the underworld. Just based on this point alone, she should be dismissed and investigated. Chen Wei of course denied it. Qin Weiner had made a lot of contributions to Hudong City. She had made a lot of contributions to the stability of Hudong City. Everyone knew that. When Qin Weiner had taken down the wanted criminals and eliminated the Four Wolves gang, Feng Guoqing had personally praised her. Now he was saying that she was in cahoots with a boss of the underworld. Obviously, it didn't make sense. However, since Feng Guoqing knew that she was Qin Zhongming's daughter, he wouldn't let her off easily. No matter how Chen Wei explained to his most valued female subordinate, Feng Guoqing had made up his mind. He had to fire her. If there was any problem, she would be expelled from the police force immediately. Qin Weiner had made a lot of contributions to the stability and development of Hudong City. When she heard Feng Guoqing's words, she was furious. If it weren't for Chen Wei and the others holding her back, Qin Weiner wouldn't have cared if Feng Guoqing was the municipal party secretary. Even if he was the king, she would have slapped him in the face. Qin Weiner hated it when people wronged her. Although she wasn't the most responsible person in the entire Hudong City police force, she was definitely in the top 3. She was fair and strict. She didn't hesitate to arrest the South City Three Tigers when they committed a crime. That day, she let them go in front of Su Yun, not because of Su Yun, but because the investigation was over. They didn't have the right to lock them up for more than 48 hours. Therefore, Qin Weiner really did what every police officer should learn from. Now, in Feng Guoqing's words, she was the scum of the police force. She was a rat that could ruin a pot of pork rib soup. How could Qin Weiner not be angry? Of course not. After listening to Qin Weiner's angry narration of what happened yesterday, Su Yun couldn't help but laugh. Feng Guoqing is really interesting. Ruan Qingshuang glared at Su Yun. How can you laugh when Wayner is like this? She was fired and investigated. You have to think of a way. You can't really let Wayner lose her job, right? Well, I think it's pretty good. Let Wayner come to the hotel and be the lobby manager or something. It's not like she doesn't have shares. She can earn more than the police, and she doesn't have to work overtime. Soo-yeon nodded and said, I think it's pretty good. It's just a lousy job. If she doesn't want to do it, then so be it. It's not like she will starve to death. Why should she put up with it? You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.